Nobody is safe from his wrath. He's the business badass here on the warpath. Ghost predicting the future. Ghost sparking synapses. Ghost the badass of business. Yeah, now get ready. True Capitalist Radio starts right now. Fucking punks. Fucking punks.
Hell yeah! How's it going, folks? How's it going? All right. Once again, you are listening to another episode of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. You please got to forgive me. I did do a 10-hour Ghost show, which is my tomfoolery show, the previous night. So if it sounds like my voice is a little scuffed, that's probably the reason why. I want to say cheers to everybody out there who is listening to the broadcast right here and now. And if you could please spread this show across the internets and throughout the world, and let everybody let them all know that the True Capitalist Radio Show is live and in effect. Once again, episode 690 for all the folks that are keeping track of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And let's just go right into it and get to the nitty gritty because this is a serious show. You know what I'm saying? Now, before I get into the show, I want to remind everybody that we have no text-to-speech on this broadcast, so we can no longer be interrupted. The only way that you can potentially interact with the broadcast is through buymeacoffee.com/GhostPolitics. All right? And by the way, we're now accepting subs, by the way. That's what we're going to do. As a matter of fact, let me change my position, if you will. Let me go from here to here. All right? And let me go ahead and put the PC shot on. If you go to Buy Me a Coffee, you can obviously have a message read live right here on the broadcast, live right here and now. But we actually are now doing a subscription-based type of situation.
I'd buy that for $1.
And Vax have the biggest. All right, I'll get to that donation in a second. But let me tell you, this is purely serious content. And
I'd buy that for $1.
And thank you, NoraCore. Cheers to you. But this will provide access to a chat room in which we're going to have political discussions whenever there's any kind of debate. We're going to have different kinds of discussion when it comes to business, finance, politics, movie nights, the whole 9 yards. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that's where we're going at this point in time so we don't get interrupted by, dare I say, troll terrorists and cyber vermin, and trolling the interwebs over there at Rumble, hooked up with a Rumble rant, and he said the following. He said, I'll find a way to interrupt it. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. And let me get to some donations that just came in. Vax have the biggest hearts. Happy Baller Friday, Ghost. And thanks for doing a True Capitalist Radio without text-to-speech. Keep away the weaponized autism that plagues the Ghost Show. A lot more fun to listen to this format. Thanks again for providing this information. It's hard to find without loads of propaganda or BS. I particularly enjoy the global geopolitical analysis. Well, you're going to love this show, man. Cheers to Vax have the biggest hearts. Anyway, enjoy your weekend and keep capitalizing. And I just want to say, No Face Killa, who donated earlier, this is obviously a Ghost Show donation, and I will acknowledge it on the Ghost Show. So cheers to No Face Killa. And NoraCore, who said, next time, take a shit at an hour beforehand. Maine. All right. Well, thank you for the insight there, NoraCore. Cheers to you. Without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Put the PC shot on. The markets, folks, are kind of in limbo. Even though they're posting on the positive, I do want to let everybody know that this market is very deceptive. Because right now, if you're a day trader, you know that the liquidity is drying up. Anytime that you have any kind of high percentage session gainer, they go out like a bat out of hell when the bell rings, and then throughout the day, the price decays, which is a clear indication that liquidity is out of the market and people are selling more than they are buying. So the strategy of investment, in my personal opinion, has to change with the times. Because there's less liquidity in the market, there's less opportunity for those big percentage gains on a single session basis. So with that being said, this is why I'm taking a different approach at this point in time under the current market conditions, because I think that we're about to have a contraction. Now, the reason I know that we're going to have a contraction, aside from all the data that I'm about to say to you now, it's the fact that 12 stocks hold 80% of the money in this market. All right, let me repeat that one more again. 12 stocks hold 80% of the money in this stock market, and that is not a good indication that this market is strong at all. The last time that we had this kind of central concentration of money was in the 1999 dot-com crash, and we all know what happened there. So that's why you're having a lot of stocks that are not necessarily taking off, even though they're performing well when it comes to earnings, even though they're maybe signing deals, there's good news. There are a lot more sellers in this market, and that's why in this next contraction, it's going to be a stock picker's market as opposed to listening to some schmuck on Wall Street bets suggest to you something. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some financial insight. Right now, the Dow, it was up 0.32% on the day. The average on the Dow today is 39,512.84 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. The S&P 500 was up modestly. It was up 0.16%, closing out the S&P at 5,222.68 points for the S&P 500. And we've also got the NASDAQ, which was modestly down 0.03%, closing out the NASDAQ at 16,340.87 points for the NASDAQ composite. Now, with that being said, gold continues to rise, even though there is a major monetary tightening policy by the Federal Reserve. Now, this is an indicator that the commodities guys...
Buy that for $1.
Hey, what's going on to Michael Caesar? Cheers to you, Michael Caesar. Cheers to you, man. I appreciate it. Happy Baller Friday. But gold indicates that the commodities traders are not necessarily buying this whole monetary tightening policy, because what should be happening right now is the gold price should be going down, considering that the Federal Reserve's monetary policy is taking out circulating fiat out of the market. And what should be going down, or what should be happening, is gold going down in price. Because when a gold price goes down, and it's a low gold price, that means whatever fiat it's being paired to is actually valuable. All right? But when you have a high gold price, it means that whatever fiat currency that it's tied to does not have as much value as you might like to think. So that's what I like to look at when it comes to gold. Gold is an indication of what the market interprets the value of fiat. High gold value, low value fiat. Low gold value, high value fiat. So it's very strange to continue to see gold going up, but it just underscores the uncertainty in this market. And we're going to talk about the uncertainty here in a second. And oil, folks, oil is down today 1.34%. Oil, $78.20 per barrel of WTI sweet crude oil, which is not bad. I mean, we were looking towards $90 a barrel here about a few weeks ago, and now we have a major contraction right going into the...
Buy that for $1.
And what's going on to Sapphire Fox, man? I'll get to your... I'll get and read your donation here in a second. But going into the summer months, we traditionally see a high oil price, so this is very interesting to say the least. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this market, folks, all right? And the first thing that we have to talk about is inflation. Put the PC shot on. Inflation is scrambling Americans' perception of a middle-class life. And in my personal view, I think that even though we've had inflation on prices, the ways and the means to make capital in this country hasn't been any easier. I mean, folks, there hasn't been an easier opportunity to obtain revenue than in the past, from Trump to now. Because during Obama, the Obamacare situation screwed up employment in this country. His whole policies of putting more than 50% of America on welfare was a horrible policy that lingers to this day. That's why right now, from Trump's time to now, has been an easy way to make capital. So, yeah, we see rising prices, but there's no, at least up until now, because we're seeing a lot of layoffs, but up until now, it hasn't been easier. You can go get a job. You can go work at the gig economy. I mean, after COVID, does everybody remember, folks, that people had signing bonuses to encourage people to be employed at their location? They had retention bonuses. I never thought I'd ever see such a thing. Now those are long and gone, but it just underscores how easy it has been to obtain revenue. I mean, lest we forget that we had 2 stimulus packages. Remember, where money was deposited, thousands of dollars deposited in people's accounts. So, in my opinion, even though you've got a lot of folks that are now starting to feel the pinch of the liquidity shortage because of the Federal Reserve's aggressive monetary policy, now people are starting to second guess what their lifestyle really is. And people now in this very disconnected, very spoiled America, they believe that because they can't get their daily $12 latte at Starbucks, that they're poor in America. You know, because they can't go and spend that microtransaction on a fucking video game, they think that, they're poor in America. And I think that people, in my view, when we finally start seeing this contraction, you're going to really feel what poor means. And let me talk about that for a second, because in my opinion, I think that we're headed towards a recession that we have never seen before in our lives. And guess what? One of the savviest investors, the man that reads this like a book, none other than Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is not buying stocks right now. As a matter of fact, Warren Buffett's old motto is, when people are flocking to the market, you want to exit the market. All right? And when people are exiting the market, that's when you want to go into the market. And I'm telling you right now, Berkshire Hathaway, which is a company he runs, take a look at this. They're operating on decent earnings. They soar 39% as Buffett's cash hoard swells to $188 billion. So right now, you've got Warren Buffett not necessarily going into anything on a long-term basis. He's waiting on the sidelines, like I have suggested to everybody back during the beginning of this whole goddamn Fed monetary tightening policy in March of 2022. And you can look up that episode. That episode is still on Spotify. So my point is that the people that are going to be rich in this contraction.
I'd buy that for $1.
Hey, Norcor, I'm about to answer that question. So when will the market return to normal, you think? I will answer that question here in a minute. But I'm just trying to put a point of emphasis that the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, is just holding on to cash while people are out here burning it like it's going out of style. While people are going out there acquiring assets at very high prices, in my opinion. I mean, remember, we're in an inflationary period. We got the Fed attempting to try to cool that down. So that means that prices are going to come down by default. So that's why Warren Buffett is waiting in the sidelines, so that when the damn fucking stock market crashes, this guy's he's gonna scrape up everything pennies on the dollar. And that's what he does every crash, and that should be an indicator, right? Hey, what's up to sleep aids for $25 a month membership, man? Cheers to you. Thank you for keeping this text-to-speech free. And cheers to you. We do have a membership, by the way. And like I said, we have an exclusive chat room. We're going to be doing movie nights. We're going to be doing political discussions over debates. We're going to be doing some fun stuff in the official True Capitalist Radio chat room. And believe it or not, that chat room is going to be on this live stream. Even though I'm monitoring every chat room from YouTube to Rumble to Kick to DLive, the chat room, in my personal opinion, is exclusively going to be folks that are members of this particular show, because they're supporting it, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, thank you to Sleep Aids, which is probably a troll, but either way, thank you very much. All right. Anyway, once again, Warren Buffett, $188 billion in cash. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. That should tell you that right now people should be accumulating cash. All right? Because you want to know why? Because prices, I think, are going to start to come down. And what is the clear indicator of prices going to come down? Layoffs, layoffs, layoffs. We've been seeing massive amount of layoffs across the board, across every fucking sector you can imagine. And if you take a look at the data, it's starting to reflect that. Take a look at this. U.S. weekly job claims are the highest in more than 8 months as the labor market eases. Because you see, folks, when you have a monetary tightening policy like the Federal Reserve is implementing right now, they're trying to bring down the prices. Because if they bring down prices of everything, that stops inflation. Now, when you have the Federal Reserve aggressively trying to bring down prices of things, as a result, there's going to be less profits. Because if prices are being lowered, then that means jobs have to be cut. That means belt tightening has to be done on the corporate level. And that's what we're currently seeing. And that's why we're seeing jobless claims uptick here as we continue this very aggressive monetary tightening policy by the Fed. And look, jobless claims combined with the data I'm about to show you is not, in my personal opinion, a recipe for a good time in America for the next few years. And trolling the interwebs with a Rumble rant, employment is high, but Biden said there's great jobs. Well, there were great jobs. They're becoming very scarce nowadays, but trolling the interwebs and everybody out there are good jobs. People just don't want to take them. We're having a shortage in general construction. We're having a shortage in framers who frame houses. We're having a shortage in carpenters. We're having a shortage in these arenas because, I hate to say it, we have a very pussy pampered America that believes that they're above certain labor. And those men that are still around, that put their brute to earn their keep, those are the guys that are reaping the rewards right now. Anybody doing any kind of labor is making a lot of money right now. I'm not even joking around. But once again, a clear indicator that we're starting to see the inklings of the economy start to tinkle downward, if I could use such a word. But another thing that I think people should talk about, aside from the monetary tightening policy and why we are seeing such a long time for the inflation to go down, it's because what I talked about on the last broadcast, the artificial dollars, the synthetic dollars that are being created by not only consumer credit, but government spending. Now, folks...
I'd buy that for $1.
And Noracor says, we're having a shortage on brain cells too, Well, Noracor, I can't explain that. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's SSRIs. I don't know if it's the sign of the times. I don't know if it's public education. I don't know if it's the parents. All right, but it is what it is. All right. But anyway, look, we as Republicans, I still consider myself a Republican, even though the party is gone so fringe that I probably will abstain from voting for most fucking offices at this point in time.
I'd buy that for $1.
And yeah, thanks a lot, Michael Caesar. That's very inappropriate. But anyway, the Republican Party has lost the tenets that used to make them the Republican Party. They lost the tenet of conservatism because obviously conservatism has gone out the window. We have no moral leaders anymore in the Republican Party, and every Republican leader that's a moral leader ends up being exposed as a hypocrite. So we have no moral compass. We have no fiscal responsibility anymore. And I hate to say, for all the Trump lovers out there, Trump threw the whole fiscal responsibility tenet of the Republican Party right out the window. And the reason he did it is because he put more money on the debt than Barack Obama. And Barack Obama put more money on the debt than all presidents before Barack Obama combined. So the conservative Republican movement has lost that tenet. So we have lost what it is that makes us up who we are. And the thing is that if you take a look, put the PC shot on, the U.S. budget deficit has shrunk for the first 7 months of this fiscal year. Meaning, as of April right now, we have $210 billion surplus. And that's at the current rate of spending. Now, this is a bittersweet type of pill because even though we are having a surplus in April, as the year continues onward, we're still going to come up as a shortfall. So we're still in debt. And you see, folks, this is really another aspect on why our economy is not going well. All right? Yeah, thanks a lot, Gino. Can you talk about the rise in stocks in Gridman? Yeah, okay. That's the Ghost Show, all right? But anyway, folks, what conservatives have to do is they have to bring back fiscal responsibility to the government. And we have to have people that we're going to be electing to office that are going to genuinely start cutting spending from the government. And the first thing that we need to do is bring back an annual fiscal budget that we used to do. We used to vote on all the time before Barack Obama wiped his ass with that. And we have never had a goddamn annual budget ever since Obama. We need to bring that back. And once we have that annual budget and the government votes on what they're going to spend for the next year, and you've got conservatives cutting from that expenditure so that at the end of the year you have a surplus, that's what the American government needs to do at this point in time. Because it's very important that the American government pay the principal, not the fucking interest on the national debt, the principal. Because this is what happened during the 90s. Because, folks, in the 90s, what happened was when Bill Clinton took office, he had a Democrat majority in Congress. So the first thing Bill Clinton and the Democrats did was raise taxes. That pissed off the American people, and in 1994, the midterm election, the American people elected a Republican Congress for the first time since 1964. All right? So as a result, you had high taxes that were brought in by the Democrats. Then you had a Newt Gingrich ran Republican Congress. And Newt Gingrich forced Bill Clinton to start cutting from the budget. Even though Bill Clinton tries to take credit for it, it was Newt Gingrich and the Republicans' unity in fiscal responsibility that forced Bill Clinton to capitulate. And you see, you combine the deficit that was being paid because of the surplus forced by Newt Gingrich and the Republicans. You combine that with high taxes, and even back then, folks, the interest rates were damn near close to what we're seeing today. And even amidst all that, we still had a decent economy. Because fiscal responsibility, if we take it like we should, prosperity will ensue by default. And that's what we have lost. We have lost our fiscal responsibility as Republicans, and we need to get it back. And yet the Republicans that have a dominated House of Representatives now, what are they bitching about? They're bitching about who should lead them. All right? They got rid of McCarthy. They brought in Mike Johnson, and they don't like Mike Johnson. We look like idiots. We're not unified. We got a bunch of morons that represent the Republican moniker.
I'd buy that for $1.
And what's going on to enemy capitalists, dude? I'll read your message here in a second. But this is what we have to get back to, folks, is fiscal responsibility. And I know I'm mixing politics with finance here, but this is something that's very important. Because, folks, the private sector, in my personal view, is about to take a crap. Take a look at this. No turning back. This Wall Street bear is predicting the biggest market crash since 1929. And I believe him. I've been saying it. I mean, we have let the market get so overspeculated. And I'm not just talking about the stock market, any market. The Bitcoin market, the crypto market, the housing market, the car market. Every market has been such overspeculated, and it's gotten so high that there's no other thing to do other than to see a massive contraction that is more than a recession. It's a depression. And what they mean by depression...
I'd buy that for $1.
Hey, what's going on to Ananoki, man? I'll get to these donos in just a second. But what they mean by depression is when you look at a chart and you see the chart and it crashes, you see the chart crash, it's a depressed chart, meaning it's like somebody put their damn thumb in it and indented the chart, and it is indefinitely depressed for a good portion of time. And that's what's going to happen, folks, in this market. That's why Warren Buffett is holding $188 billion in cash, because he doesn't want to hold the bag on anything that is being overspeculated right now. And if you want my opinion, most of the hot stocks that are in the stock market are over fucking speculated. So that's all there is to it. So why is it over speculated? And can you kick this in? Kick anybody out who's talking crap. I'm going to kick this idiot out. Kick anybody who's talking shit. I don't care who they are. Kick them out of here. But anyway, I'm sorry. I hate to be interrupted by these trolls, but I'm not messing around anymore. We're kicking people out of here. Anyway, as I was stating, folks, this is going to be a massive depression. I think everybody should be prepared for it. All right. And Blade said, how can you profit out of a depression? Bet against the market. When you start seeing the market have consecutive negative days, bet against the market. Inverse ETFs. Now, I would not suggest shorting because you could actually lose major money shorting, but bet against the market. That's how you do it. You know, NVIDIA right now is at like $800 or $900 a share. I certainly do not believe that they're going to continue. If you take a look at the chart of NVIDIA and compare it to the highs of Cisco during the dot-com era, it's almost exactly the same. And as you can see, everybody that bought Cisco at the high price back in 2021, 2001, 2002, they still haven't gotten their money back. So that's why I'm telling you, folks, we're at such high rates when it comes to any asset. That's why I'm sitting on liquid. That's why I'm sitting on liquid. Now, remember, we're trying to bring down, or at least the Federal Reserve is trying to bring down costs. They're trying to bring down prices. And as you can see, the 2% benchmark that they're trying to hit is far from that. Take a look at this. Consumer Price Index, which is the index that kind of gauges inflation, it rose by 3.5% year over year. All right? Following a 3.2% increase in February. And this goes to show you that really the monetary tightening policy by the Federal Reserve is not working. What's creating continuous inflation is the government spending and consumer debt. Because even though we are out here and we're trying to, at least the Federal Reserve is, trying to take out circulated dollars out of the market that it had been printing since the year 2000, the government is continuing to borrow money and pay interest on it and then circulate it into the market. The consumer is at all-time highs when it comes to credit debt. And let's talk about that for a second. I got some more charts to say. I got some more charts to show you to put things into perspective. Let me show you the personal savings of consumers. Take a look at this. All right. We're at almost all-time lows. Let's take a look at the max. Look at this. We're at almost all-time lows. All-time lows we saw here in about 2004, maybe going into 2008. I mean, look at COVID. Look at COVID. We had all-time historic highs for personal savings, and everybody just pissed it all away in a few years. Pissed it all away. So that is an indicator that there's not that much money circulating in the market. So that means that at some point, these aggressive monetary tightening policies are going to take effect, and everything is going to go down. All right? So once again, almost record low when it comes to consumer savings. All right? Now let's take a look at consumer spending. All right, consumer spending is still going out the wazoo. Take a look at this. Put the PC shot on. Look at this shit. There's no money, yet the consumer continues to spend. Let's take a look at a max chart on this. Look at this. Look at this. That's why I keep telling people that the reason we're not seeing inflation come down is because people are blowing their money as if they just got diagnosed with AIDS. And they're fucking spending it like they're going to die here in the next couple of years. And let me tell you, that is very irresponsible. And they're going to put themselves in a situation that they're not going to like. And whenever it comes, the depression or recession, and when they're not ready, if they think they're having a hard time now, they ain't seen nothing yet. Take a look at that chart. That's consumer spending. I mean, we're still spending even though there's less dollars circulating in the market. And why? How are we doing this? Credit. All right? Credit, credit, credit. And it's not just regular consumer credit, which is all at an all-time high. No, it's student loans too, right? It's student loans. It's all the debt, because student loans have to be paid on for 25 years. And many of you people that have them know what I'm talking about. So look, it's debt, 1.6 trillion in student debt. Let's take a look at a max chart on that. Take a look at that. In the early 2000s, right when they implemented No Child Left Behind, that's when they fed you kids, hey, you got to go to college. If you don't go to college, you're going to be a nobody. If you're going to go to college, you're going to be a nobody. Yeah, take a look at the college campuses now. We're going to talk about that when we get to the political portion of the broadcast. But take a look at this. All right, this is student debt. Do you think these people are going to pay this off anytime soon? Absolutely not. You've got people that are paying debt, and they've been paying it for like 10 years, and they haven't even put a dent in it because they're mostly paying interest. And, on a political note, I find it funny that every time that you hear these politicians say, oh, we're going to get rid of student debt, we're going to get rid of student debt, they can't. Because this is one of the few government operations that actually are profitable. This is one of the few government operations that actually brings in revenue. So they're never going to get rid of student debt. And all you people that are wishful thinking about that, well, you should look at yourself in the mirror, because that's the idiot you should be blaming, with all due respect, all right? But it's not just student debt, all right? It's also the amount of business credit and bank loans that are out there. It's not just consumers. It's not just consumers. Put the PC shot on. Take a look at this. It's business credit and business loans as well. Take a look at a max chart on this. Take a look at that max chart. I mean, y'all get where I'm doing. You get where I'm coming from here. We're going to have a major contraction, and I think people need to get ready for it. The charts don't lie. The data doesn't lie. And cheers to Snake-Ass Salesman, who just became a monthly supporter over there at Rumble. Man, cheers to you. But once again, this is business. This isn't even consumer credit. This is business. So we're going to have a reckoning, folks. And I mean, if anything, if you're not an investor, if you don't like stocks, if you don't like doing all this stuff, save the money. Save the fucking money right now. Save as much money as you can. You will thank me when this goddamn crash happens, believe me. Now,
I'd buy that for $1.
and Frank Castle, all right, I'll get to those in just a second. I just want one more chart to show, and then I'll get to some of these donations. Take a look at the labor participation rate. All right, and that'll tell you why there's jobs like construction, like framing houses, like carpentry, diesel mechanics, and these hard labor jobs. That's why they're so plentiful, and that's why they pay so much. Take a look at this chart. That's labor participation. Now, we had major labor participation. Remember, I was just talking about the 90s. Major labor participation. After 08, take a look at after 08. That's when Obama came along, implemented Obamacare, put half of America on welfare, and take a look at how down it's been. Take a look at how downward of a spike, or downward of a crash, I should say, it's been. And you see, now that we're having inflation, and now that we're having monetary tightening by the Fed, now that we're having these things, it's forcing people to go back into the labor market. You see that? So, in my personal view, all this data is not a recipe for success, in my personal opinion. And you need to change your strategy, in my opinion, as an investor. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But let me get to some of these donations first. And, of course, there's some idiot that spams some ridiculous racial crap. So let me get past that. And let me get to these donations that came in. Here it is. We got Noracor. We have a shortage on brain cells, too. And cheers to sleep aids for the $25 membership. And by the way, folks, if you like the show and you want to keep it text-to-speech free, you want the straight political dope, if you could hook it up $25 a month to keep this absolutely text-to-speech free. And at the same time, we have a special chat room that everybody who is joining is going to be able to have access to. We're going to be doing movie nights. We're going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about viewing political debates and that sort of thing. And there's going to be other perks, but that's how we're going to keep this text-to-speech free as long as possible. All right? Anyway, I'm sorry I'm taking so long. Some idiot spammed stupid crap, so I got to get past that. So it's taking time in the show for that crap. Anyway, Sapphire Fox said, "Hi, Ghost. I'm glad to be tuning in today, but I just want to give you a message to Ashton from you saying, 'Fuck you, asshole,' for what you did Wednesday on Radio Graffiti." Okay, thank you very much there, Sapphire Fox. He's talking about something that happened on the Ghost Show that doesn't really pertain to the True Capitalist Radio Show. But thank you, Sapphire Fox, man. Cheers to you. And let's continue. I'm sorry that I'm taking too long here, but some idiot spammed a bunch of crap. And Noracore asked, when will the market come back to normal? In my personal view, it's going to take years before the market comes back to normal. And the reason is because we need cash to come back to the market. And most of the people that are in the market right now, especially non-institutional investors, the retail investors, they're about to lose a lot of money because most of them are buying these $900 NVIDIA prices. They're the ones that are buying these all-time highs on shares. And they're the ones that are going to be stuck holding the bag, and they're never going to get their money back. So what's going to happen is once the Federal Reserve finally lowers rates, that's when we're all going to see the effects of the contraction of this market. Everybody's going to feel it because by the time the Fed lowers rates, that's a signification that they went too far. They went too far, and now they've got to cut interest rates because they have no other choice. They have to do it. So that's when we'll feel it. So if you're wondering when the hell are we going to feel this market, that's when we're going to feel it. And, of course, Gino X 1987, can you talk about the rise in Gridman stocks? Real funny. Cheers to you anyway. Enemy Capitalist, yo, Ghost, happy Baller Friday. Currently rehabbing surgery, so no drink, no smoke. But please take a hit of tobacco with me. Cheers, baby. Are you kidding me? I hope that it's okay. I hope that it wasn't serious surgery. But cheers to you, and I'll take a smoke later on in the broadcast, all right? I'll take a smoke later on in the broadcast. Ananoki hooked it up and said, "Hey, Ghost, I work in aviation industry, and we have a big problem with GE, General Electric. They produce a lot of our engines, and the issue is they outsource the work to Brazil, where they don't regulate as strictly as we do. They require one certified AMT, aircraft mechanic, per 15 people working on the engine, whereas here in the U.S., you have to have a license to do anything with engine work. We are getting engines delivered that are broken and have been taken apart and fixed. The quality control is horrible, and the airlines lobby against the FAA regulating outsourced work as strictly as they do here." I agree with this there, Ananoki. The problem is that nobody cares. And the reason nobody cares is because you can take a plane from here to Vegas for like $70 or some shit. That's why nobody cares. All right, I hate to say that, but I mean, remember, that's what they bitched about Walmart back before Amazon became the big wig in retail, but that's what they said about Walmart. I mean, Walmart is taking out the small guy, taking out the small business, because Walmart would come into markets, they would price things below wholesale value to take out the competition. And, you know, that and people bitched about it. People thought that wasn't fair. It's taking out the small business, yet they continued to buy at Walmart. They didn't, you know, appreciate small businesses enough to keep them in their market, keep them in their community.
I'd buy that for $1.
So anyway, what's up, Star Platinum? I'm going to get to yours in a second. But Ananoki, I do agree with you that there needs to be some lobby that, you know, requires that there needs to be better safety in airplanes, and especially airplane construction and mechanic work. But then again, if they do that, I mean, prices of airplane tickets are going to go up at least 3 or 4 times. And you think people are going to be willing to pay for that? So it's a very tricky situation, man. I mean, but if people cared, we wouldn't have it. And trolling the interwebs with a Rumble rant, he said, "I'm hearing European markets are becoming strong investments despite Muslims and social disruptions. Do you think European markets might be a doge on the American crash? Or you mean a hedge, I think was what you meant to say. I don't think so. And the reason is, and I'm going to get to this in just a second, I believe that Europe is going to confront someone in a military conflict. And right when that happens, everyone's going to sell off in the market over there in Europe. Everybody's going to sell off. All right? And listen, anybody who's talking shit in Rumble, can you kick them the fuck out? All right? I don't care if they've donated. Kick them out. All right? Kick them the fuck out. Jesus fucking Christ. That's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm charging $25 a membership, because I don't want people on the screen chatting that aren't a part of the show and that aren't serious. I mean, can't you fucking trolls just get the fuck out of here and go somewhere else? All right? I mean, isn't Chris Chan or some fucking tard out here, going out there, hey, look at me, yay, spaghetti. All right, trolls, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see you here, all right? It's bad enough that I got to see you stupid pricks every time for the ghost show that I fucking don't even like doing. So, Jesus Christ. Anyway, as I was stating, I didn't mean to go off keister there, but, I'm tired of these trolls. I want them to stay away from the show. I don't think they think that I'm serious. I'm fucking dead serious. Get the fuck away from True Capitalist Radio Show, all right? Put the PC shot on. We got a Star Platinum. And Star Platinum said, Happy Baller Friday, Ghost. I can see firsthand that people are closing savings accounts and blowing all their money just like you're seeing on the charts. I've also seen a lot of older generation pulling about a third of their funds and putting it in a safe in their homes. Meanwhile, people in the 30s and 40s are putting everything up on collateral for loans and credit lines. And Star Platinum, you're exactly right. And, when it happens, the same shit that you're seeing across campuses with this ridiculous Palestine protest bullshit, it's going to be the same thing, different plate. Remember Occupy Wall Street? They're going to blame everybody and their brother, Star Platinum, when it comes to, I don't have anything. I don't have nothing. I've got student debt and I don't have money to do this. And what were you doing during the time of prosperity, you idiot? What were you doing? Well, I mean, most people got money in their account. I think almost 10 grand for two, right? It was like almost 10 grand for two different stimulus packages. What the fuck did you people do with that? I mean, did you people that have student debt, did you pay the principal on your fucking student debt with that? No, you didn't. Did you put it in a savings? Did you try to save it and what did you do with it? You burnt it. So any kind of bad economic situation that you may find yourself in, you've got to blame yourself. All right, that's all there is to it. And cheers to Colonel Transisco with a couple of diamonds, man. I consider myself a semi-serious listener. And there's Jag Deluxe Ray with a Ninja Genie, man. Cheers to you. And I hear that you're probably going to be a hiatus from Radio Graffiti, and I don't blame you. Sapphire Fox already gave me the 411, so cheers to you, all right? Anyway, let's get back to the show here, and let's talk a little bit about crypto, all right? Now, I told you guys at the end of last year that BlackRock was going to make a run on Bitcoin, which they have. They've staged a run to where they were going to hit all-time highs and a little above that, and then after that, it was going to contract. That's kind of what's happening at this point in time. And once again, the scamming in crypto continues. And what do I mean by this? Well, the NFTs, when I saw that in 2021, I knew that was it for crypto. And I sold off November 2021. I suggested everybody do the same. If you would have done so, you would have left with cash in hand, and you wouldn't have had to have held a bag for 4 years to be able to finally get your money back. But all of you folks that are buying at like 60, 70,000, you guys, I'm not too sure if you're going to get your money back. And the NFTs was a scam. It was nothing more than to smoke screen the smart contract technology that ETH thought it was going to produce. And now, another scam when it comes to crypto stable coins. Take a look at this. Did you hear this? Bots drive 90% of stable coin transactions. So 90% of everything that is traded or bought when it comes to stable coins. I'm talking Tether and all these other stable coins that are supposedly tied to the dollar. They're bot transactions. So, I mean, once again, whoever's running this, BlackRock or whoever's running, there's a lot of vested interest in making sure that this run on Bitcoin continues. They've got bots trading to make it look like there's a lot of transactions, a lot of volume. And meanwhile, it's the same bunch of shit that crypto has turned out to be. Listen, I was an optimist about crypto back in 2017, 2018, 2019, because I saw it as an alternative, a liquidity alternative to fiat currency. But unfortunately, folks, because now the vision of that independent fiat dream has been gone, and now that it's merging itself with the system that it was intended to fucking get away from, I don't really see much of a future for crypto outside of some maybe short-term gains, like those of us that made those short-term gains from last year, late last year, when Bitcoin was at about 28,000, and then cashed out when it hit 70.
I'd buy that for
You know what time it is, man. All right, but once again, underscoring the fraud. Hey, Mad Thad, I'll read your donation in a minute, man. Cheers to you, man. But once again, it's a scam. And if you haven't sold off of crypto yet, I would suggest that you do. But, you know, that's my opinion. All right, that's my opinion. Let me see what Mad Thad had to say here. All right, and cheers to everybody out there who is listening and giving some props and all that good stuff. Hold on, this is taking a long time to load. Buy me a coffee. I appreciate you trying to update your user interface, but it is just, I like the old stuff. I mean, this is just horrible. I mean, I appreciate the service, don't get me wrong, but this thing barely loads. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say, but hey, they're trying, right? They're trying. I'll read it here. Oh, here it is. Mad Thad. Oh, and Froppy, my bad. Let me read Froppy's first. Froppy said, do you think the Republican Party is going to show extreme violence should Trump not win? I certainly hope not. But I wouldn't count it out because the fringe has taken over the party, and the fringe is completely out of their gourd. There's no rational thinking. It's pure cult of personality. We have literally turned into leftist because this is the kind of activity leftists do. So I'm not sure. I'm not lying to you when I say that within this year alone, I've had Trump stickers put on my car. And at work, we've had customers bugging me and other employees asking us if we're going to vote for Trump. It honestly kind of does freak me out a little, especially with Republicans on Twitter promoting violence against anyone who doesn't vote for Trump. Stay safe and pack a gun if you have to. Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be participating in any kind of violence like this in the government, but try to tell that to these tards, right? We got Mad Thad who said, hey, Ghost, I'm glad you're live on YouTube again. The other apps aren't mobile friendly. Happy Baller Friday. In 2020, I had $20K saved up. Now I'm paycheck to paycheck. You're right. I blew it all on anime and liquor. Fucking idiot. Enjoy your serious show so far and take care. You blew it all on anime and liquor? All right. I don't even know what to say about that, for Christ's sake. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on from finance to politics and domestic stuff. And by the way, I'm probably going to put out something on YouTube that gives people strategies on stock trading and that sort of thing. So, be on the lookout for that. All right. But anyway, let's start off with some domestic news. And are you all ready for the next pandemic, folks? We talked about this on the last broadcast. But what did I tell you? The prognosticator. Take a look at this. Could avian flu be the next COVID-19? And you see, folks, that's why yours truly has long-term plays in the medical biotech industry. Because, folks, I think that they're going to do this all over again. And why not hedge for it and buy some 52-week low bio stocks and hold them and hope that they're one of these like mega bombs that explode with large sums of cash when it comes to the price of the stock. I mean, I would like to remind everybody that Moderna, all right, with the mRNA vaccine, was like $1 stock before COVID. Then it shot up to several $100,000. And, you know, I mean, if you have like $500, you know, and you buy 500 shares and it goes up a few $100, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But, I mean, the reason that I'm saying this may happen again, because we were gullible to fall for it in the first place. And because we have folks that can easily be goofed into injecting anything into their body, so long as the government says that, well, it'll keep you protected, everything will be okay. I mean, they're going to continue to do it. So as a capitalist, I'm thinking, well, that market's always going to be there. These people are always going to buy medications and vaccines if they get scared, if they're suggested, if the media puts something on television and that sort of thing. Why not capitalize on it? And I know somebody said, well, Ghost, we'll be all locked down anyway. I mean, why capitalize? Because I want to eat steak every day, all right? And I don't give a shit if steak is $50 or $100, all right? I'm fucking eating it in my fucking home, all right? And look, I mean, do I agree that, oh, man, we may get locked down again, we may have stringent rules? No, I don't agree with it, but you people made this happen. You people made this happen, and guess what? Everybody's now starting to admit, slowly but surely, they're having side effects from whatever the hell they injected into your body. All right? Even Chris Cuomo, the CNN asshole talking head, who was out there waving his finger telling everybody to get vaxxed, and if you don't, you're going to kill Granny and shit, even he's admitting that he's having clots and being treated for it and shit. So that's why, I mean, we're going to do this again. We're going to do this again. Anyway, Colonel Transisco with a Ninjaghini, do you think that Bitcoin and all other cryptos will soon crash like the 1920s? Yes, they're going to. Everything is going to crash. Every asset, because money is going to be scarce. I mean, do you understand that the longer that the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates high, that's longer of a time that they're taking money out of the market. They're taking fiat out of the market. So there's less fiat circulating. So what does that mean? That means people have to sell in order to pay for shit. They got to sell their car. They got to sell their house. They got to sell stocks. They got to sell anything of value. That's what the Federal Reserve is trying to do. I mean, what else do they mean by artificially bringing down prices? Come on, man. And trolling the interwebs with a $10 Rumble rant, the medical industry has been fucked forever, as long as I can remember. I do agree with this trolling, but at the same time, I mean, the reason that they're doing what they're doing is because they reward their shareholders. They reward their shareholders with, I mean, did you hear Pfizer? Pfizer has paid a generous dividend for 89 years straight. 89 years straight trolling the interwebs. So when you're a big-time holder of that stock and you're getting generously rewarded every quarter with dividend payments, you're going to kind of look the other way, you know, when it comes to certain things. And I mean, it's human nature. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is. And that's why everybody did what they did, you know? Anyway, if you're not scared enough because the media, oh, avian flu, if you're not scared about that, did you hear about this that they said this morning? I tweeted something like this out. Take a look at this. The world to brace for a severe geomagnetic storm today, the first in nearly 20 years, and it could bring chaos to mobile phone networks, GPS satellites, and the power grid. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, it seems like the mainstream media is trying everything they can to instill fear in the average, everyday American person. And look, I mean, you know, God forbid we have something that happens to the grid. Everybody should be prepared for something like that. Everybody. All right, because we've gotten so used to electricity just being at our fingertips. We've gotten so used to the ease of life. I mean, it wasn't but 100 and something years ago where people had to build their own homes, they had to make their own clothes. You know, they had to maintain their own shit. They didn't have services. They didn't have Amazon delivering shit 2 hours after ordering. They didn't have that. So this would be a very drastic situation that could ever be bestowed on Western civilization if the power grid goes out indefinitely. All right? Unbelievable. And, dude, kick anybody out that's talking shit. Kick them all out. All right? I don't want anybody in this fucking goddamn show that thinks they can talk shit. Get them out of here. All right? It's Twitch rules here. All right? It's Twitch rules. Pretend you're a Twitch mod and get power hungry and kick these people out. Anyway, as I was stating before I got rudely interrupted, all right, more scare porn from the mainstream media. All right, geomagnetic storm, avian flu. What else are they going to scare us with? Is there anything else on the table? Is there anything else? Oh, yeah, take a look at this. Why not add cherry on the top? Take a look at this. Shock poll reveals a huge number of Americans see another civil war within the next 5 years. Are you fucking kidding me? Why is everybody bitching in this country? We live in the greatest country in the world. Why do you think everybody's trying to get here? Why do you think they're trying to sneak across our border? Why do you think they're doing this? Because they want the opportunity that many of you fucking American people take for granted. We're living in some of the best material times that we've ever seen. And yet everybody is pissing and moaning. And, you know, you people wonder why D.C. is allowing taco eaters to come in here to kind of replace you people. I mean, you've got everything handed to you on a silver platter. I mean, nobody in America needs to long for anything. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to say this again because it bears repeating. All right, it bears repeating. Go to your impoverished part of town. Wherever you live, go into your part of town where all the poor people are, all right? Go to that part of town and go to the grocery store in that part of town and watch how many fucking morbidly obese people are waddling their asses off up and down the goddamn grocery store, all right? And then follow them to the checkout line and watch them pull out an EBT card. And I'd say to you,
I'd buy that
all right,
for $1.
we're disconnected for Christ's sake. Frank Castle, I interrupted. I missed your dono. What do you mean I missed your fucking dono? Let me take a look. I'm sorry if I did. Some fucking idiot has been spamming and shit. All right, put the PC shot on. Sorry about that there, Frank Castle. Can I get an unban on Vaughn? We're not on Vaughn, but I'll make sure to do it. PSA, can you invest in the market through Cash App? It's not as thorough as other services, but it does offer a lot for a free app, like notifications on stocks you're watching and invested in, recommendation on purchases, hold, a sell of stocks, etc. You can also get IPOs and ETFs. I've had several $100s invested, and I'm up around 10% after 3 months. They offer free tax filing. I got $800 back on my return after a 5-minute filing. I mean, do you work for Cash App? Jesus Christ, you're selling Cash App more than I'm selling my fucking True Capitalist memberships here. Anyway, also you can invest in Bitcoin for as little as $10. I'm not sponsored by Cash App, but if you really want to be a capitalist, check it out. All right. Well, thank you, Frank Castle. I appreciate it. All right. If that wasn't a goddamn commercial for fucking Cash App, I don't know what is. But look, getting back to this Civil War thing. I mean, once again, why do you think that the Washington, D.C. folks are not doing anything about Juan Valdez and all his buddies coming across the border? I mean, why do you think that is? They're doing it, and they're not doing anything because they're trying to replace the disconnected, unproductive people in the American culture. And I just showed you a chart about job participation, labor participation. There's not much of it, all right? There's not much of it. And the reason I'm coming here is because I want to show you the kind of crap that is in America today, all right? I want to show you the kind of crap that we have to put up with on a consistent basis. Take a look at this. I tweeted this out a couple of days ago. When are we going to stop seeing scenes like this? When is America going to stand up and say, look, we're tired of this ghetto-fied crap? And by the way, these aren't immigrants, by the way. These aren't immigrants. All right? I mean, when are we going to stop scenes like this? I mean, seriously. I mean, when are we... Look at this. This is America. This is impoverished America. This is impoverished America right here. This is what you're going to see if you go to a grocery store in an impoverished part of town. This is what you're going to see. So, folks, that's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you all right now. This whole Civil War shit that's being conjured up by people is because people are disconnected and spoiled fucking brats. They're spoiled fucking brats. Whenever you go up to anybody who's protesting nowadays and try to tell them to articulate their grievance, they can't. They absolutely can't. And yet, they have no experience in anything. They can't articulate their grievance. They just piss and moan. And this is a consequence of our success as an American culture. People have been so pussy pampered that they think that all they have to do is complain and bitch and moan and people are going to capitulate. And that's not how the world works. And that's why there's no changing these types of people. There's no changing people that think that, oh, you know what, I hate America. You know, there should be a civil war and it's not fair. There's no changing these people. There's no teaching these people. There's no rationalizing with these people. So what do you do with them? Well, you certainly can't round them up. You can't do anything totalitarian because that's not what we're about. You got to replace them. You got to replace them with, dare I say, people that are going to come in and are going to appreciate the Constitution, that are going to appreciate the economic prosperity and the opportunity that's available to everyone. This is the only country in the world where you can come in here and have nothing, have absolutely nothing to your name, and through hard work, ambition, and dedication, you can make your own life. You can carve out your own destiny in this country. And you see, most of these people that are second, third, fourth generation American people, they think that they're too good for that, and all they got to do is just sit on their fat asses, deposit fucking food in their gullet like a garbage disposal, and piss and moan and hope that everything goes their fucking way. And it makes me sick. This is why we're having this Civil War talk. It's a bunch of spoiled fucking brats on both sides, the left and the right. A bunch of unappreciative American people that are disconnected and they think that the world revolves around them. What would have given them that idea? The self-esteem movement that was taught to these pricks in public education? Huh? The parents that gave them a fucking device to shut them up when they were children? A fucking video game? A television? Unfucking believable. Unbelievable the unappreciativeness of this country right now. Anyway, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Devious Dave, Red Heifer, and trolling the interwebs with a Rumble rant. They're only on TV to prove a negative, false dichotomy. I think that they're on TV because they're stupid, ignorant people that can be exploited and have people's eyes glued on the television set, if you want my opinion. And what are people bitching about? Anyway, cheers to trolling the interwebs, man. What are people bitching about? People are bitching about everything. They're bitching about everything. I mean, what's the latest thing on college campuses? Ivy League college campuses, of all things. The goddamn Palestinian crap. You've got a bunch of folks that go to schools that cost $80,000, $70,000 a year that are going out there rioting and committing acts of violence to a people they've never even they've never met, they've never seen. They don't even know about. Because I've yet to hear anybody go up to these people and ask them, hey, why are you sitting here protesting for these people when the Arab world doesn't even want to take in these people as refugees? Did you know that? And guess what? If you told them that, they'll just say, get away, because they don't want you to ruin their narrative. And that's what most of these young people do. They just try to intimidate you, take away your camera. They try to tell you to get away because they can't answer you. They can't answer you. And Valentine Broadcasting with a Rumble rant. Thanks for the TCR, Ghost. Can you post a schedule of your upcoming shows on the Ghost Report? I'm going to try, dude. I'm trying to get the rhythm of what kind of a schedule that I'm going to have. But follow me on X or Twitter. That's probably going to be the best spot for you to figure out when I'm doing a live broadcast. But thank you very much, Valentine Broadcasting. Cheers to you, and happy Baller Friday to you and trolling the interwebs, man. Cheers, baby, cheers. All right, folks, let us continue, man. All right. Why are these brats, once again, bitching and moaning about a people they don't know? And if it isn't Palestine, it's Ukraine. If it ain't Ukraine, it's Black Lives Matter. If it ain't that, it's LGBTQ trans rights. It's virtue signaling bullshit. Why? Because that's all these young people know how to do. They have no skills. They have no creativity. They have no ambition. They are complete disgusting waste of life that do nothing but piss and moan. That's all they do. And take a look at this. If you don't believe me, look at this. Gen Z has lost the ability to manage basic adulthood. So that's what we're going to have to just come to accept now, huh?
Oh, Gen Z, they don't have the basic ability to manage adulthood.
Because most of these people that are under the age of 40, believe it or not, I mean, being an adult used to be 21. I remember 21 years old. No, people in their 40s now are out here living with their fucking parents. I read an article on this show a couple of months ago that more than 60% of people under 40 have at least one bill paid for by their fucking parents. You should be humiliated. All right? Any of you people that are over the age of like 25 or 27, because I'll give it to you, all right? Your parents love you. They don't want you out of the house. They don't want to be empty nesters and shit. All right, stay there and fucking save your money. Go out and work and save your money until you're 25 or 27. So you have this big fat fucking stack if mom and dad love you and shit. But no, y'all don't do that. Instead, you act like these fucking man children that you see prominently all over social media showing off all the fucking toys and shit in their fucking background. All the stupid shit that isn't going to be worth dick during a contraction. That's what they're spending their money on. They're spending their money on garbage instead of saving it. And then we wonder why Gen Z can't fucking manage their basic adulthood. Then we wonder why Gen Z is a fucking emotional, fucking immature basket case. This is why, folks, there's no changing this. I mean, just take a look around the internet, for Christ's sake. Take a look around the internet. And take a look at how many young people, I mean, not even young people, old people as well, that are anesthetized with gaming and animations and Comic-Cons and all this ridiculous shit that used to be something that was geared towards children. I mean, why do you think these stupid 40-year-olds can't grow up? Because they were exposed to this shit as children, and just like the Toys R Us fucking commercial used to say,
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
So that's why we have a whole generation of people that would rather piss and moan and grab onto some cause, get on some soapbox, and try to wave their finger in your face because they are insignificant piles of human protoplasm that have done nothing, that have proven nothing, and are nothing. So that's why we have these types of folks here. That's why we have it. And there's no changing these people. So, in my opinion, I mean, I've changed my view when it comes to immigration. We need to have people come into this country to replace these insignificant pieces of ungrateful, fucking immature, emotionally basket case pieces of shit. And we need workers. We need people that are going to care about this country, that care about the Constitution, that would fight for this country and send their children to fight for this country. Every time I talk about anything warfare related, whenever I talk about the international relations stuff, everybody out there is talking about, I'm going to dodge the draft. I'm going to dodge the draft. I'm going to dodge the draft. I mean, we have raised a bunch of spineless young cowards. And that's why they're out there taking over the campuses and rioting, trying to show how valiant they are because they have nothing else. They've got nothing else. They have no social life. They've got nothing. They have no skills. They've got no creativity. They have nothing. They have no idea who they are, so that's why they latch on to these stupid, ridiculous protests. And by the way, have you ever been to one of these protests? It's like a fucking a Grateful Dead festival, for fuck's sake, man. It's not even protesting. It's not even protesting. So look, I don't feel sorry for anybody in America. I'm telling you right now. Now, there are isolated cases where, I don't know, somebody had a death in the family or an accident, or, I mean, those kinds of cases I understand, right? You're always going to have empathy for people and their personal stories. But when it comes to people in America, all right, people in America that are out here pissing and moaning, I don't feel sorry for any of you people. This is the greatest country alive. I was born, into a family that was dog shit. I'll be the first to admit it. And if I was born in any other country, I would be dog shit. There's no other level to graduate from. I mean, that's just what you were. If you were born into shit, you were going to be shit. If you were born into wealth, you were going to be wealthy. Not in America. In America, anyone can be anything. It's up to you. All right? That's why it's called earning a living. That's why you're not given a living. And you yourself, you could carve out your own destiny. It's just most of you are too lazy to do it. Because you can go fall back on mom and dad, live off their fucking couch, suck off their fucking food and booze and everything else they buy you. And that's why you're a content little prick that has all the time in the world to piss and moan about the Palestinians or the Ukrainians or the fucking Black Lives Matter or George Floyd or whatever it is, whatever. LGBTQ, women's rights. This is what this is all about. That's why whenever I see a protest, I don't even take it serious anymore. I mean, protest used to be a form of civil disobedience that was supposed to bring some level of spotlight on a cause or an issue. Now it's a fucking joke. Now it's a bunch of idiots, literally homeless people camping out in tents, banging on drums, raping people in these fucking occupations, and then fucking getting bombed out of their minds with fucking drugs. And anytime you have somebody that's saying, hey, why are you out here? I mean, what's the point? What are you doing out here, man? They can't tell you. They can't fucking tell you. And it's sad. Anyway, once again, I know there's a lot of people pissing and moaning because I'm probably talking about your generation. Don't piss and moan at me. Look at that asshole in the mirror and ask yourself, am I one of these people? Am I one of these losers that is refusing to launch myself into a responsible person? Am I the loser that Ghost is talking about that tries to latch on to some kind of cause in order to give myself some kind of soapbox so I can give my own stupid ego some kind of self-esteem boost? I mean, is that what I am? I mean, if you are that way, you don't have to be that way forever, but you got to figure it out, man. And if you don't want to figure it out, then stop bitching and moaning and go into your fucking hole in your parents' house and just fucking stay there until you rot or they rot. All right? I'm tired of this shit. This is the greatest country ever. And yet you people fucking hate it. So that's why, nobody either on the right or the left is doing anything about the goddamn situation at the border. And the bad part about it is, folks, this Gen Z and millennial generation that I just scathed here the past couple of minutes, they're supposed to be the most educated goddamn civilization or the most educated generations in American history. Huh? I mean, just take a look at the fucking college debt. $1.6 trillion in college debt. With that kind of money, you could have just given these people a fucking computer, and they could have learned probably more, all right, than going to a fucking social arena like fucking college, which is now, folks, it's no longer a form of higher education. Because of the grant system, and we're giving all these morons free grants to go to higher education that don't need to be there. And that's why colleges now look worse than high schools. And that's why nobody learns anything. That's why all these Ivy League colleges that are protesting against Palestine try to look for interviews with these pricks. They can't fucking tell you why they're there. They don't even know the issue. They don't even know what the hell is going on. They're just latching on because that's what they do. They're professional pissers and moaners, for Christ's sake. Anyway, what's up to Mike Wallace? I'm going to read yours in just a second, Mike, because you're talking a little bit about education. Hey, is higher education even worth the cost anymore? New study says it depends on the school. Listen, if you don't have your college education paid for by somebody else, then don't go to college. All right? Do not go to college. I've been saying this ever since I started this broadcast back in fucking 2008, and everybody thought I was a fucking idiot for saying it. Who's smart now? Huh? Let me tell you something right now. You people that are holding $60,000, $70,000 in debt that you're going to have to pay for 25 years before you even get a job, you can't claim that you're smart. You can't claim that you're intelligent. All right? The fucking person that decided that after they're 18, they just went and got whatever job that they had and moved up that job. Because, look, I mean, believe it or not, when you're in a job for several years, you're going to get moved up. You're going to get raises. And if you don't, well, then go get another job. All right, look for another fucking job. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what has happened to the youth. You know, I've got a member of the inner circle who, believe it or not, I don't know if y'all remember True Capitalist Radio back in 2016. He was a part of the short bus. I don't know if y'all remember that. And he decided that he was going to just go right to work at the age of 18. He is now 22 years old. He now manages an establishment and is making like $85K a year plus bonuses. And he's just barely getting started. They're talking about, you know, bumping this guy up to regional manager to make six figures. I mean, that's all you have to do, folks. It's all you got to do is go work. All you got to do is go work and don't participate in the fucking employee drama. All right, don't be a fucking asshole. Be on time. Be available. Be available to be on call just in case somebody fucking calls in, and you'll move ahead. The only people that stick around on minimum wage for the rest of their lives are fucking idiots that call in, they're late for work, and all that other shit. All right? And hold on, let me take some of these donations here, and cheers to everybody out there who's listening to True Capitalist Radio. Once again, this is a serious show. This is not the Ghost Show. I already gave you guys the Ghost Show this week. All right? This is the serious stuff. Anyway, Mike Wallace said, "Hey, Ghost, it's been a while. Haven't been watching your shows in 5 years because I was busy with college." Right after I talked shit about college. "Hey, but I managed to get back and watching all your shows again, including the previous streams 9 days ago. Anyways, happy Baller Friday and cheers to you, Ghost." Well, thank you, Mike Wallace, man. Cheers to you. And Frank Castle, we got to your dono, man, so cheers to you as well. Happy Baller Friday. Hey, Caesar Madrazo, what's going on? "Hey, Ghost, it's been a while since I've tuned in. I agree about the American majority being too spoiled to fix their lives. That's why I'm using my money I've saved to buy a plot of land, and I'm building myself a small cabin and starting my own business. Staying out of debt, staying close to my family. Good to see you're still kicking, and cheers." I know, dude, Caesar, it's that easy. It really is that easy. It just takes time. And you see, we live in such an attention deficit disorder generation that nobody wants to take the time to build their fucking lives. Everything has to be instant gratification, and if it isn't instant gratification, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's why we're in the current position that we're in. Anyway, it's good to see you, Caesar Madrazo. I'm glad to see you, and I hope you're doing all right. Cheers to you, man, all right? But anyway, once again, we're talking about this younger generation here. And as I stated, we should not be promoting college anymore. Just go to work.
I'd buy that for a
Just
dollar.
go to work, for Christ's sake. Hey, hold on. We got Man Bear Pig. Let me get to Man Bear Pig's donation here. And cheers to everybody who's donating. buymeacoffee.com/GhostPolitics. We're trying to make this text-to-speech free because we got some straight political dough. We got shit to talk about out here. Put the PC shot on. Man Bear Pig, I'm ashamed to admit that I was the person you're talking about here for so long. I took having the rug pulled out from under me to get my shit together. I'm operating at a disadvantage at this point given my current physical condition, but I never want to be that person again. Well, thank you, Man Bear Pig, and cheers to you, man. And I'm glad that you're even, coming off that particular era of your life. And look, just keep going. All right, just keep going. It's your life. You can carve out your own destiny. You just have to have the ambition, and you just have to have the willpower to continue to do it. So cheers to you, Man Bear Pig. Good to hear from you. Happy Baller Friday. But let's switch up. I know I don't want to bash Gen Z and millennials all day. So let's go ahead and make a transition into politics. All right? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, what is it, Stream Troll Mike? Sorry, folks. We'll get back to the show in just a second. We got a lot of people donating here on Baller Friday. Stream Troll Mike, hey, go serious donation for once. Oh, I understand that you aren't very enthusiastic about the upcoming election, but do you plan on doing a special election night broadcast or anything similar? I'm actually going to do that. Look, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But
I'd buy that for
but
a
this
dollar.
True Capitalist Radio membership, it is going to give you access to an exclusive chat room that's outside anything I do. And this is probably where we'll have these. This is probably where we'll have these viewing parties of these things that you're talking about there, Stream Troll Mike. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, this True Capitalist Radio Show membership, is because I know everybody wants it text-to-speech free. And this is the same price that I charge for a video donation on the Ghost Show. So that's why, we're trying to make this subscription only, but I appreciate it. Cheers to you there, Stream Troll Mike. But I probably will do some political stuff, even though I'm not necessarily enthused about the election, And Potato Kirby, the military will pay for your college education via scholarships if you choose to commission as an officer of either the Army or of the Air Force through one of their ROTC programs. Alternatively, you could also serve 4 years as an enlisted personnel and then use the GI Bill to help you pay for college once you discharge. You know what, Potato Kirby? That is probably the easiest thing that somebody could do, and yet these fuckers don't even want to do it. They don't want to do it. I mean, have you seen whenever I bring up the concept of potentially America confronting somebody on the international stage, all these young people say that they're going to dodge the draft? I mean, we have a fucking weak group of people as the American population at this point, and that's why we have such a screwed up fucking political system. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But cheers to Potato Kirby, man. And somebody asked if they can pay off loans you already have. You need to talk to your recruiter there, Rock Anonymous, because I've known people who have gotten their debt eliminated. They just have to go in as an enlisted officer. Because traditionally, when you go join the military and you have a college degree, you actually go in, or excuse me, not as an officer, you go as an infantryman. So if you go in as a regular infantryman without having any kind of, special, anything special because of your education, I think they'll pay it off. At least I think. I have seen people have it paid off with that scheme, if you will. And someone said, this is the TCR I waited for. Can't get into trouble at work anymore. Well, thank you, someone, man. Cheers to you. I know it's... We're trying to give people what they want. I get it. People like tomfoolery. We're still going to do the Go Show, but I know there's a lot of folks that like the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, and I really do appreciate it. So that's why I'm doing it, man. And look at Froppy. He said, I'm going to dodge the draft. Go get wrecked. So see what I'm saying? Anyway, Edward Dugan said, hi, Ghost. Will there be a Ghost Show today? I have great videos for you. No, there's not going to be a Ghost Show today. Are you kidding me? There's not going to be a Ghost Show today. I think probably the next Ghost Show will be Sunday. You know that? We haven't had a Sunday show. There's a lot of people that loved Sunday Ghost Shows. We're probably going to do that. Anyway, have a great Baller Friday and love you. I hope that's, platonic, Anyway, thank you, Edwin Dugan. All right, now, I just finished bashing Gen Z and the millennials. And the reason I'm doing it is because our government is a representation of our people. Because remember, a government is made for the people and by the people. And since I'm a Republican and I'm not really happy with the current Republican Party, this is why, folks. Take a look at this. Hoping tensions will ease, House Republicans still brace for more drama. That's all this House Republican-dominated Congress has done, is just cause drama after drama after drama. And yet, even though they dominate the House, the Republicans, they have not initiated one piece of legislation that has benefited the general American public. And how these idiots think that they're going to win an election in 2024 is beyond me. I mean, this guy that we're looking at, this is Mike Johnson. This is the current Speaker of the House. He replaced McCarthy, who was ousted by these stupid Freedom Caucus idiots that don't even know whether they're coming or going. I'm talking about the hypocrites like Lauren Boebert, who goes on the House floor waves her finger about morality, and yet there's a video of her out there giving handies to some fucking guy who's using her tits like bongos, who happens to own a bar, who hosts fucking drag queen shows. All right? So that's Lauren Boebert. Marjorie Green Taylor, same shit. Matt Gaetz, that sex trafficking piece of shit. I mean, these are the fucking people that are representing the Republican Party. You think the American people are going to vote for Republicans after all this mess? No. And I'll be honest with you, folks. I mean, I'm laying wait for the Republicans to lose on every single front. Because once the Republicans have lost, there's an opportunity to take over the party. And I hope that once the Republicans lose in 2024, there's enough of us that come in and bring back some kind of fucking values to the Republican Party. And let me explain. We don't have to be any kind of evangelical or anything of that nature. What we have to do, if you want my opinion, folks, is go down back to bare bones tenets. Conservatism, social conservatism. Obviously, we're in Rome. We're living in a very decadent society. And if you try to push yourself as a very staunch evangelical Christian, that's not really acceptable amongst this particular populace that we have in current day America. So how do we counteract that? We have to go back to bare bones, folks. And that's why those of us that are Republican, we have to push the issue that we are conservatives that want to shield children from all kinds of sexuality. All right? I mean, we want to bring back childhood to children again and not have them exposed to any kind of sexuality. And if we as Republicans can be unified behind that, then I think that we take the moral high ground once again. Because who is going to be against? Who's going to be against this? Who's going to be against shielding children from sexuality other than the folks that we're trying to counteract? And the folks that we're trying to counteract are the LGBTQ fanatics, who anytime you criticize them, they resort to the bigotry word or, oh, you're a bigot. Look at you hate us and all that other shit. No, that's absolutely not true. This is America. And I believe if you want to partake in whatever sexual perversion that you want to partake in, that's your right. But I think that America needs to take back its public decency. And we should not be allowing this. I'm not just talking about LGBTQ sexual overt affection. I'm talking about heterosexuals too. We don't need people in shopping malls or in grocery stores out here sexually exposing children to whatever the fuck they're doing. And if you want my opinion, if all of us Republicans can get behind this tenet of conservatism, I think that we bring some of those folks that are center, maybe even center left, on our side. Because you gotta damn near be a fucking sick, AIDS-infected maniac if you think that sexuality and children should be in the same sentence. That's the first tenet of conservatism that we all need to get behind. All right? No sexual suggestion, sexual exposure to children of any kind. The second thing we need to do as Republicans, folks, fiscal responsibility. God damn it! We got to do it. Because, folks, I mean, if we lose the fiscal responsibility debate, what else do we have to stand on? What's the opposite of being fiscally responsible and tightening up the government budget? Spending. Spending, spending, spending. And you see, folks, we can't afford to spend anymore. We can't. I mean, our debt is unsustainable. The Fed has been sounding the alarm. Janet Yellen has been sounding the alarm. We have to come down and recognize that we cannot continue to spend. I mean, we've already spent like $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion this year alone. All right, it's only May. $1.5 trillion. Or excuse me, 500 billion. Excuse me, $1.5 trillion is what we have already spent. And you see, then we wonder why the interest rates aren't coming down, or excuse me, the inflation rate's not coming down. The inflation rates are not coming down because all that money that the government is spending is being circulated in the market. I mean, however they're allocating those funds, whether it's for infrastructure. All right, you got to pay people to build shit. You know, whether it's for defense, you got to pay people to build defense shit. So that money, which is synthetic dollars, which is money that has been created outside the influence of the Federal Reserve production, is the reason why we are not seeing inflation go down. But that's why we got to go back and bring back the tenet of fiscal conservatism. And secondly, we have to go back to the Constitution. I mean, did you see this bill that some idiot Republican initiated? This and by the way, it passed the House. Anti-Semitism bill. Did y'all hear about this? Now you can't even criticize Israel. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, look, I'm no pro-Palestinian and I'm no pro-Israeli, but I think everybody deserves criticism. Everybody. Now, do I think that these stupid morons out here at college campuses are allowed to go fucking riot and start committing acts of violence? Absolutely not. But if I want to criticize the current foreign policy of Israel, I should not be punished for that. If I want to criticize Bibsy and his very, very aggressive approach at what he's doing to the Palestinians, I don't want to get punished for that. And yet the Republicans were the ones that not only initiated it, but passed it in the House. They didn't, I mean, this should piss everybody off. The Republicans can't get behind any fucking policy or bill that can help you or me. Yet they take time out of their congressional day, and somebody wrote this bill and initiated it, and this was the only thing that can unify us together? Is a fucking bill that's going to infringe upon our First Amendment? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, do I believe that people should, call Jews anti-Semitic tropes and shit? No. But I have the right to criticize Bibsy and his aggression in his warfare against the Palestinians. I have the right to criticize anything Israel does. That's what America is about. And that's why, folks, once again, the Republicans are going to lose down the board because of these fucking actions that I just fucking mentioned here. All right? And guess what? The Democrats know it. I can't believe that we're losing against the Democrats. The Democrats have done nothing during Biden's administration. They've done nothing. All they've done was get the goddamn country more perverted by embracing these fucking nutcases like Dylan Mulvaney. That's all the fucking Democrats have done. That's all they've done. All right? But now they realize, hey, the Republicans, we gotta make sure that not only do we beat them, we put the nail in the coffin on these sons of bitches. We put the nail in the coffin. Guess what the Democrats are doing? Chuck kicked the American people in the balls. Schumer is initiating what? Surprise! A border security bill. Oh, I mean, the Democrats are playing the fucking Republicans like a fiddle. They're playing the GOP like a fiddle, for Christ's sake. Now, the Democrats are usurping the issue of border security from the right and are now incorporating it into their own tenets of political ideology, even though they caused the problem. They caused the problem. Now, they're the ones that are going to initiate a policy that is probably going to be generally accepted so long as the border is secure, and they're going to win the hearts of everybody on that fucking issue. And what are the Republicans doing? They're not doing a fucking thing! Excuse my French! They're not doing a goddamn thing! All right? Everybody is just playing pocket pool and trying to say incendiary, edgy shit in order for cameras to be put in their face, in order for the media to get their attention. That's it! So, once again, all of you Republicans that think that, we're going to see some red wave, it ain't going to happen. I think that we are going to lose across the board. Absolutely across the board, we're losing. I mean, what do we stand for? I just asked, what are we standing? We don't stand for anything. And it's sad. And it's pathetic. Jesus Christ. I mean, where are all the fucking adults in the room? Anyway, let me get to this donation by Dr. Midnight. What's going on to Dr. Midnight? Cheers, Ghost. Do you think the Dems will pick a new nominee at the DNC before the election? Or will they be riding with Biden to the bitter end? They're going to ride with Biden. All right? Because the policy wonks are in control. All right? Not Biden. If you think Biden is in control, you're an idiot. I mean, I don't even think he's in control of his bowels. All right? So they're going to ride or die with him. Anyway, what's the current state of the Republican Party? Well, take a look at the candidate that we're running for president now, Donald Trump, which I don't know what happened to this guy, but I speculate that the powers that be have something on him in his connection with Epstein, because after Epstein got arrested and then suicided, Donald Trump changed his tune about almost everything. He stopped saying globalism. You know, all of a sudden, he just allowed the big pharma industrial complex to take control of our government and to do whatever they wanted to. But now, look at what Trump is. Trump, he's at this stupid payoff trial. And he also has this document case that is being led by a federal prosecutor in Jack Smith. And look at what he's doing. Trump calls classified document special prosecutor Jack Smith a fucking a-hole and brands Fannie Willis a beauty and likens himself to Al Capone. Man, I don't even know what to say about that. Al Capone? I mean, this is who you're comparing yourself to? This is the state of the Republican Party, folks. And the bad part about it is, in 2016, Trump actually named issues that he was going to tackle if you voted him president. What is he touting when it comes to policy now? What is he touting? He isn't touting anything. All he's touting at every one of these damn rallies is it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. That's all he's touting. And he is trying to use the border as an issue, but why didn't he do anything about the border when he was president? He had a Republican-dominated Congress. How come he didn't do anything about the border then? Because, folks, it's all lip service. I mean, you all have to recognize our government doesn't work like, hey, we elected this guy president. Now he's a dictator and he can do whatever he wants. That's not how our system works. Our system works by influence in different bureaucratic tentacles of the government. And the only way that you're going to remedy the border situation is you have the respect of the bureaucrats that patrol that issue or that are involved in that issue. The Border Patrol agents. I mean, there are a plethora of judges that have a vested interest in making sure that there's still asylum and there's still all this bullshit. There's a whole system that is dedicated to this. And the only way that you're going to remedy it, the only way that you're going to solve the problem is if someone goes down there and influences that tentacle of bureaucracy in order for them to call for change, in order for them to say, hey, we support this guy because this guy says what we believe in, and the Border Patrol agents and everybody that's involved in the border supports this guy. And we support him because he wants to reform immigration and do this and do that and do this. And you see, Trump didn't do that. I mean, Trump could have easily, during the time that we had a Republican-dominated Congress when he was president, he could have easily reformed immigration. And all you got to do to reform immigration is the following. You have to put a test on people coming across the border. And we have to bring them in based on merit. Secondly, we have to get rid of the immigration lottery system. Any schmuck can put their name into a lottery system and get picked, and boom, they're automatically a fucking citizen. Believe it or not, we need to get rid of chain migration. Chain migration is another thing that we need to get rid of, because the guy that hit the lottery to come into the country in the immigration lottery system can bring in people of his family under chain migration. So this is what we have to do if you want to change things. All right? You're not going to elect a dictator that's going to unilaterally do things on its own. That's not how it works. You have to have somebody. That's why I hate to say it, you have to have some political experience. Because if you have political experience, that means that you got elected based upon issues that people thought it was important enough to elect you into power. And because of those issues, once you were elected power, people that were in power with you, your colleagues, started respecting whatever it is that you're trying to espouse when it comes to policy. All right, and that's how this system works. That's how the system works. It's not a popularity contest. It's a popularity contest when it comes to voting. It's not a popularity contest when it comes to issues. If the issues are good, the general American public will back it up. And that's what we're missing. We're missing statesmen. We've got politicians. We need statesmen once again. All right, I'm just saying. Anyway, folks, look, let's go ahead and transition, no pun intended, from a little bit of domestic to international news, all right? And let's go ahead and talk about Russia. Now, as I stated on the last show, I think that now NATO is making a move. You've got the EU making a move. And take a look at this. NATO drills show it is preparing for conflict with Russia, Moscow says. And you see, I mean, you've heard all the war talk coming out of Macron and, you know, the Germans. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that are recognizing that Russia, if it does take over Ukraine, it's not stopping. And if you want my opinion, there's a real possibility that Putin has no other choice. And I'm going to explain that here in a second. He has no other choice but to continue the war forward. And I'm going to explain why. But once again, NATO, it's not taking this lightly. They're doing drills. I mean, they are preparing for a potential conflict with Russia because Russia seems to be overzealous in its attempts on taking over geography in Europe. All right? Now, with that being said, while NATO is preparing for drills, Russia, I don't know if y'all saw this, but they targeted Zelensky. And they targeted him at first by adding him to some criminal wanted list. That's some arbitrary list that they throw out of whoever's the enemy of the Russian state. All right? Then, mere days after saying that Zelensky is a criminal and is wanted by the Russian state, an assassination attempt happened on Zelensky. An assassination attempt happened on Zelensky, and it was inside. It was an inside job. And I'll get to your dono in a minute, Matt, that it was an inside job. Take a look at this. Zelensky's top bodyguard suffers consequences after alleged assassination attempt. Now, folks, I have been saying for a long time that the internal workings of the Ukrainian government aren't necessarily going along. They don't like the decisions that Zelensky has made. I've been very critical of Zelensky. All right? And the reason is because when the Russians invaded, they should have taken a defensive approach when confronting the Russia invasion. Instead, Zelensky, an ex-comedian, by the way, decided that he was going to use all the Ukrainians to confront Russia in an offensive approach to the invasion. And that's why they don't have too many Ukrainian young men anymore. And it's his fucking fault. All right? It is Zelensky's fucking fault, and it is his overzealous attitude towards this conflict that has now got Ukraine in the precarious situation that it's in. And I said that I wouldn't be surprised if Zelensky got killed by his own people because of his own incompetence. And this proves that, or at least the Russians got close enough to his own personal bodyguard that they almost killed him. And to be honest with you, I'm not saying or I'm not encouraging anybody to be assassinated, but I think it would be in Ukraine's best interest if this guy went. Because Zelensky's a complete incompetent. And if I were somebody in authority in Ukraine, I would kill Zelensky, or I shouldn't say kill, I would eliminate Zelensky, throw him in prison or do something. And then I would go back to the drawing board with Russia. Because there's no way that Russia is, they're going to be able to repel Russia. There's no way. They've got too much conscription for them to stop. And that's been Russia's form of warfare ever since the beginning of Russia. Wave after wave of men until it overwhelms the enemy. And you see, that's working at this point in time. And it's because of Zelensky's incompetence. Him thinking he was a general. Him telling the Ukrainians that they need to confront the invasion from an offensive perspective. And now, as I've been saying for the past 6 months, his days are numbered. I mean, Zelensky has really done goofed. Now, with that being said, Zelensky, who is now, I don't know what happened to his bodyguard, this particular attempt at Zelensky's life was payback for the Moscow attack by ISIS. Remember that? At that concert hall? Folks, the ISIS attack was us. It was the CIA. The CIA is in control of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I have told you all this for years. All right? And the reason that ISIS did this, which was basically operatives that we have trained, and they're bloodthirsty killers. I mean, that's who these ISIS people are. The guys that they were trying to throw as the culprits of it, they're Tajikistan people. And the reason that they tried to throw a Tajikistan face is because the true culprits that did this got away. So that's why they got to parade around some people. And as I stated on the last show, you can get the 411 on the last show I did. The reason that they're putting a Tajikistan face is because Putin wanted to bomb the border of Afghanistan and Tajikistan, which has over 9,000 plus fighters on that border. And he wanted to make it look like, hey, we've got to bomb this place to make it look like they're not escalating the theater of combat. But anyway, this assassination attempt at Zelensky was in response to this, because we have yet to hear or see a response from Russia on this horrific ISIS attack. I mean, where's the payback? They don't have a payback. As a matter of fact, I think Putin is scared shitless that ISIS is going to strike again, and believe me, it will. And not only will ISIS strike Russia again, but it's going to inspire attacks by the Chechens. And I'm going to tell you right now, I said it on the last broadcast, it seems like Kadyrov is not well, and he may lose his life here shortly because of natural causes. When that happens, I think a powder keg of Chechen rebel terrorism is going to break loose, and I don't think Putin is going to be able to control it. And I'm expecting that to happen very, very shortly, because that's what this ISIS attack on this concert hall was intended to inspire. It was intended to inspire the jihadists in the Caucasus regions, the Daesh, and everybody else to show that, hey, Russia has always been an enemy of Islam. Remember the 1994 bombing of Grozny? So that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. So this was a response. Trying to assassinate Zelensky was a response to that attack. And after all this happened, after the attempted assassination on Zelensky, after the payback, after all this, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Put the PC shot on. Putin says Russia is open to dialogue with the West. This is probably one of the first verbal capitulations by Putin himself. All right, showing that, hey, look, we're open to, we're open to, some negotiations. All right, we're open to some negotiations, but we want it on our terms. All right, we want it on our terms, and that right there has been swatted away by the West. I think the West is willing to back up anybody who continues to deplete the natural resources, the military resources, the population resources of Russia. Because we have swatted the hand away. Who gives a shit? And as a response to that, all right, take a look at this. This is what happened today. All right, Putin asked the West that, hey, we're willing to come to the negotiating table. The West said, fuck you. Now Russia launches a major offensive today against the northeast area of Ukraine. Ukraine Defense Ministry said it was rushing reserve units to Kharkiv region Friday after Russian troops backed by armored vehicles and artillery tried to break through its defense lines. So, I mean, this is like tit for tat. That's why I'm saying if I was somebody in Ukraine that had any kind of clout, I would eliminate Zelensky and then go to the negotiating table with Russia. And unfortunately, they're probably going to have to capitulate pieces of geography of Ukraine, which could have been done a long time ago, which I have been trying to suggest even last summer. Remember that? Last summer, I was telling Zelensky, you bloodthirsty fucking midget. All right? Putin was at its most vulnerable in May and in June of 2023. Remember, that was the time when Prigozhin, which I prognosticated, by the way, attempted to overthrow Putin. I mean, that was the perfect, ample opportunity for everyone to save face in this conflict. And now, I mean, we're at the point of possible no return. We're at the point of possible no return. And if you want my opinion, I think that's the goal anyway. The goal is to continue this onslaught, to have the Russians continue with their military campaign so we can drain the shit out of them. And let me tell you, let me give you an example. Take a look at this. The Russian economy is on a course to hit a historic low. And they're on a course to hit a historic low because we are sanctioning the hell out of them. And no one, with the exception of maybe the Chinese and maybe the Indians, are buying any of their oil. So they're suffering. I mean, all these expenditures, all this manpower, all the military armaments, all this is costing Russia dearly. And this is exactly what the CIA wanted. We're trying to take out Russia as a superpower without directly confronting them. And it seems like we're doing a good job. That's why I've said since the beginning of this conflict, we don't care who wins. We really don't care who wins. All we care about is that we cut Russia down to size to the point where they're no longer a superpower at all. There are no superpower status for Russia. And that's the point. That's the point. We don't want these guys at our level. All right? We want them back in the third world stone age that they were in back before fucking Stalin came along. That's what we want. And that's why the funding for this particular conflict, I think, is worth more in the long run than most people give it credit for. And take a look. Not only is it depleting economic-wise when it comes to Russia, take a look at this. Russian military is so hard up for manpower in this war that it's now paying more than the oil and gas sector. So that's how desperate it is. So that costs resources, that costs population. So this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is exactly as going to plan. We, as the American black operatives, we don't give a shit who wins this battle. We don't care. As long as Russia is depleted and we throw them back 50 or 60 years. And I'm just showing you, this proves to all of you that, it's working. It's working. I know there's a lot of fucking MAGA people that are pro-Russia simps. I have no idea why, but hey, they're no longer going to be a superpower after this conflict. Mark my words. Mark my words. And speaking of another superpower that we're trying to cut down to size, China. Did you hear about this? I told y'all last week that Xi Jinping was going to go on a European tour. And that's exactly what he did. Xi Jinping begins his first European tour in 5 years in France. Now, it's a very interesting scenario because Xi Jinping has been doing a lot of traveling here in the last several years, attempting to be Mr. Diplomat. Although I think he's doing a very poor job of it, and I think he's kind of nullifying any kind of international influence that China could have. Because he's not really doing anything. He's not really bringing anything to China with these visits. Nothing at all. So I don't know, maybe he's doing it to, take his wife out or something, because he certainly isn't doing anything, because if he was, China would not be buying gold like there's no tomorrow. And we've talked about this on the last show. China is buying not only gold, but lots of commodities as if they're either anticipating an economic collapse. And I said, if they're anticipating an economic collapse, then that is more than incentive to go into a warlike conflict so that you could start the war economy. All right? The war economy. So that's why I'm telling you right now, this is what's going on. And we're willing to back up anyone China goes into a conflict with, because it has to. China has to go into conflict, and they're acting like they're about to go into conflict. All right? They're buying gold like it's going out of style. I mean, that's an indicator that they're anticipating very, very bad things. And look, the United States is helping. As I stated, the United States is completely decoupling from China. And it started during Trump's era, because Trump was the guy that initiated tariffs on China. And I remember everybody talking shit about Trump that, oh man, we haven't done tariffs since the early 1900s. What the hell? And then when Biden came along, not only did he keep those fucking tariffs, he's double and triple down on them, for Christ's sake. And take a look. The administration is even getting more aggressive against China. New Biden tariffs on China's electric vehicles, solar, and medical supplies due this Tuesday. So even more decoupling, because what we're trying to do to China is cut them down to size. We have given them massive amounts of imbalanced trade deficits that has legitimately built their pissing ground country into what it is today, and they have given us no fucking respect and no appreciation. So as a result, not only are we decoupling them from them so that we can cause economic turmoil, which is exactly what's happening right now in China, but it's also going to jeopardize the current regime, which is really what we're trying to go after. I mean, the current regime under Xi Jinping is an absolute disaster for China, and we're trying to make it so apparent that the system of the communist government has no choice but to remove this idiot from power. And I think that moment is rapidly approaching. That's why this guy is all the time going out and trying to do these diplomatic deals in order for him to gain some credibility within his own people. So that's what's happening right now, all right? And that's why I'm saying China's buying all this gold, all this commodities. It's either anticipating an economic collapse or it's possibly going to fucking go to war. I think it's possibly going to go to war. And it's not just us. It's not just us that is imposing some kind of a, not only tariffs, but a reversal of trade deficits. Take a look at this. The U.S. is now Germany's biggest trading partner, taken over from China. So China's gums are bleeding, dude. I mean, I think, and I've said, they have no choice but to go into some kind of a war footing. I do not believe that they're going to invade Taiwan. If they do, I think it's the worst mistake that China could do at this point in time. And I've said it 1,000 times, most invasions by sea, statistically, percentage-wise, aren't very successful. And aside from that, they have a population problem of themselves that they caused. The one-child policy. I mean, just imagine when Chinese families who have what they call the little emperor syndrome, which the families have put everything vested in this one child that they were allowed to have because of the communist rules. And what if all these young men, these little emperors, start dying at war? What is that going to do for the morale of the people that are in China? I think it would completely demoralize the morale. And, I mean, the Chinese government is not going to have people that they can govern over if they're losing the population that's going to sustain the continuity of the Chinese people. So, in my opinion, folks, China is in a rock and a hard place. Even though they're trying to saber rattle, even though they're talking all this garbage, they're not in a good position to be doing anything. And hold on, before I move on and continue on with China, I do want to hook it up with a donation here. Mad Thad said the only way there will be a red wave is if the Republicans go out of their way to get the black vote. Activists like Tariq Nasheed are begging for reparations in the form of cash payments. If Trump came out tomorrow and said he supported reparations, he'd win the black vote. Yeah, he would lose all of his base too, Mad Thad. He would lose all of his base, and, that's not, he can't afford to do that, all right? 95% of the people that support Trump absolutely do not support any kind of reparation for anybody. I mean, that's one thing we can all agree on. But anyway, that was an interesting take. And once again, I just wanted to say, become a True Capitalist member today, be a part of the exclusive chat room, and keep this show text-to-speech free, man. All right? Anyway, on with China. Let's continue on with China here. We talked about how now Germany has us, the United States, as their biggest trading partner, surpassing China. So what did Xi Jinping end up doing? All right, what are the takeaways from the European tour from France, Serbia, and Hungary? Well, France, at least Macron, tried to wine and dine Xi Jinping in order to try to offset some of the trade deficit that France has with China. And of course, China, how they operate, there's no fucking compromise with the Chinese. How they negotiate is, we do this, motherfucker, and that's all there is to it. We're going to do this. We're not going to do nothing, motherfucker. You're going to work for us, motherfucker. That's how the Chinese are. So this big, whining and dining of Xi Jinping by Macron was for naught. Because nothing was done. There was no renegotiated trade deal. I mean, Macron tried to press Xi Jinping to tell Russia to stop its aggression against Ukraine, which Xi Jinping was not necessarily receptive on. And nothing culminated when it came to the France visit by Xi Jinping. On the contrary, Serbia and Hungary, which are European countries that tend to be pro-Russia, all of a sudden bowed down and capitulated to Xi Jinping and whatever it is that they want. There was agricultural deals that were signed and all this shit. I mean, Hungary and Serbia should be ashamed of themselves. All right, capitulating to China like this. But then again, that's why Xi Jinping went there. He's trying to show that China has some type of influence beyond the Western Front, which he doesn't. All right, people pay him lip service. People say that they're down with him, but China doesn't do anything for anybody. And the people they do stuff for, they have to damn near give away half their lives. I mean, just ask the Pakistanis, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But like I said, nothing really culminated outside some agricultural deals with China and Serbia and Hungary. France, it was a wasted trip. I guess Xi Jinping got, drunk on some wine or something. But anyway, China, in my view, all right, doesn't have much to stand on. All right? And we're continuing to hit them up economically. Aside from the electric vehicle, we just hit them up with trade restrictions on certain companies because of the whole balloon incident. So we're trying to choke any kind of revenue that they're getting from us. We're trying to choke it out because we certainly do not want China to have anything to do with any kind of international influence. And we want either the destruction or the reformation of the communist government of China. Now, while this is happening, all right, we're doing war games in the South China Sea. Take a look at this. Didn't I tell you about the Philippines last show? That the probability of China engaging in some kind of military conflict with the Philippines is very, very high? Take a look at this. U.S.-Philippine forces sink a ship during a large-scale drill in the disputed South China Sea. So we're ready, okay? The United States is ready to confront China, or at least back up anyone who's confronting China in the South China Sea. So we're showing China that, hey, while you're out there doing your thing and trying to hobnob with the Europeans, all right, we're ready for confrontation. All right, you can continue saber rattling all you want, China. We're ready for confrontation. And let me tell you, the Philippines definitely want a piece of China. All right? Did you hear take a look at this. Put the PC shot on. Philippines wants Chinese diplomats expelled amidst the South China Sea row situation. All right? I mean, once a country expels diplomats, that typically means that they're on a war footing. All right? That typically means that they're on a fucking war footing. So, in my opinion, China, it isn't looking towards Taiwan. It's either looking towards the Philippines for a military confrontation so that China can be on the wartime economy, because that's what is going to sustain the goddamn communist government. And if it isn't the Philippines confronting them, it'll be the Pakistanis, right? I mean, take a look at this. Put the PC shot on if you don't believe me. Pakistani military says March attack that killed Chinese engineers was planned in Afghanistan. And you see, that's another thing. Afghanistan is a hotbed of terrorism because that was the negotiated deal. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. All right? So the reason that the Chinese engineers were targeted in Pakistan is because of a massive amount of investment that China has into Pakistan, the Belt Road Initiative. And that Belt Road Initiative is a substantial amount of Chinese investment. And now it's paused because of all the terrorism that is happening in Pakistan. And you see, Pakistan is another potential opportunity for China to initiate some military action, because they can be justified in this case, in my opinion, because Pakistan owes China lots and lots of money. And because Pakistan is kind of on the verge of being destabilized, China can potentially walk in there and claim that they're doing a humanitarian effort in order to clamp down on all the terrorism that's happening in Pakistan. But that's not likely from China, because let's be honest, all right? China, are they really the big bad boogeyman? Are they really? And let me ask you to think twice about that, if they're the big bad wolf. Because take a look at this. All right? The one-child policy, which is mostly males, has bad effects. And one of the effects, take a look at this. Why young Russian women appear to be so eager to marry Chinese men. They speak fluent Mandarin and love China, but it's a shame that they're fake. So you've actually got a form of warfare now in which you are getting the pent-up jism that's within the males over there in China and getting them riled up thinking that they can score a white woman if they potentially maybe walk away from the communist government. Oh, you mean to tell me I could get a white woman? I mean, this is the new form of warfare. I mean, and look, if you can get duped by this, how strong is your military? All right? How strong is your fucking military if you can get goofed by some AI Mandarin-speaking Russian chick? I mean, that doesn't spell well, I think, for China, in my opinion. All right? I mean, are you afraid of people that could be duped by some fucking, oh, I'm in Russia. You can come here. And they're fucking goofing these Chinese people. That's what you get for the one-child policy, China. And guess what? I'm just adding this on a side note. All right? What kind of a superpower, all right, has to do the following? All right? Take a look at this. I am not joking. This is sad. I don't know why the Chinese are doing this, but take a look at this. Chinese zoo under fire after dyeing dogs to resemble pandas. Take a look at this. Look at this. They actually spray painted a bunch of dogs in order to show off that they've got panda bears. All right? I mean, this isn't action. This is not actions of a superpower. All right? What kind of stupid shit is this? All right? I mean, don't get me wrong. This is rather typical of made in China. But spray painting a damn dog to make it look like they got pandas? Unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable. But are we really worried about a confrontation with these people when they're spray painting dogs to make them look like pandas? Just give me a fucking break, man. I'm telling you. That's why everybody that's out there saying that they're afraid of the Chinese, give me a break. All right? Spray painted fucking dogs is all I got to say, all right? I'm glad they didn't eat them. I mean, I guess I should say that, right? Never mind, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, a real female hooked it up with a Rumble rant, finally home after surgery and now in recovery, beat breast cancer. Cheers, baby, cheers, and love you, Ghost. Well, hey, congratulations on the successful surgery and beating cancer, and cheers to you, real female. Cheers to you, man. I hope you're having a good baller Friday. But anyway, back to Pakistan, since, I was showing that China, I mean, they're kind of weak. And I don't think that they're going to go and confront Taiwan. They're going to go after something a little easier, potentially maybe Philippines or, as I stated, Pakistan. And look, the reason they're going to go into Pakistan is they're going to claim a humanitarian effort, because take a look at this. Efforts to destabilize Pakistan are in full throttle. Over 400 killed in Pakistan as military intensifies operations in KP and Balochistan. All right? So, like I said, here we have the situation in Pakistan getting dear. I already showed you that there were Chinese engineers killed in Pakistan trying to build this Belt Road Initiative. And now you've got Pakistan, who I don't even know if they're going to even make it as a state. And if they fall, I mean, you think China's just going to sit there with sitting on their thumbs and just letting all that billions of dollars of investment just go by the wayside? No. I think what they're going to do is they're going to go right in and they're going to pretend it's a humanitarian effort and they're going to take what's theirs. So this is a possibility in my personal opinion. And I think that Pakistan falling into a failed state is rapidly approaching, if you want my opinion. All right? And why? Because as I stated, folks, the Taliban and ISIS, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, that's why. Take a look at this. Put the PC shot on. Suspected militants blow up all girls' school in Pakistan. I mean, this is happening on a daily basis out there in Pakistan, man. It is fucking dangerous. And that's why I think it's highly probable that the Chinese go in there and attempt to show that they're humanitarily coming in to save Pakistan. All right? I mean, it's not just Al-Qaeda, it's the Taliban. And it's not the Taliban in Afghanistan. It is the TTP, or the Tariqi Taliban, and Pakistan has had enough. All right? They have already expelled any Afghanistan refugee out of their country, and they have called out the Taliban many times already. And take a look at this. Take action against TTP instead of making irresponsible statements, Islamabad raps about Taliban. Because it's this Tariqi Taliban, this TPP, or TTP, which is a separate from the Afghanistan Taliban, that's causing all this ruckus in Pakistan. And Pakistan has been calling on the Taliban in Afghanistan to do something about it, and they ain't doing a goddamn thing. And the reason they're not doing anything, folks, is because the reason we pulled out of Afghanistan is because we had a deal. We had a deal with Afghanistan. We told them that, look, we'll get out of here. We'll leave all of our armaments. We'll leave them all there. But you got to start doing our dirty work. And you got to start terrorizing your neighbors. Now, they've already started confronting Iran at their border. They're doing the same thing here with Pakistan at their border. And I'm telling you, folks, this whole region is about to go into I think it's about to blow up into massive terrorism, and that's the point. Because if there's massive amount of terrorism in this region, it's definitely going to afflict everybody else, including China, India, all that shit. Exactly what we want. I mean, that's what the CIA does. You cause destabilization over there so that we're safe over here. And not only are we safe over here, we look like the mitigators. We look like we're trying to stop it when we're the guys that propagated it. All right, Black Operations 101, baby. And speaking of the Taliban, sometimes the Taliban likes to think, they're in charge, but we're in charge of them. I mean, look at this. You don't believe me? Take a look at this article. Who's paying to keep the Taliban in business? You are. We're paying these fools $40 million a month. Why are we paying them $40 million a month for? Because they're supposed to be doing our dirty work. And that's why they're housing the TTP, the Tariqi Taliban, and they're causing ruckus over there in Pakistan and elsewhere in the region. They are housing Al-Qaeda, by the way. This is a home for Al-Qaeda, and they're training and arming them, which is another outfit of the CIA. So that's why we're out here, and we know what we're doing. That's why we left these idiots with all of our weapons, so they could terrorize every one of their neighbors in the region. Now, occasionally, when you're doing business with these types of ragtag terrorists, occasionally they think that they can do things on their own, right? They think that they can do their own business, and this is what I'm talking about right here. Take a look at this. Taliban constructs transit center in Afghanistan for Russian oil delivery to South Asia. You see, that wasn't a part of the deal, Taliban. All right, that wasn't a part of the deal that you go out and help our enemies. That wasn't part of the deal. And occasionally when this happens, what happens to Afghanistan? What happens to the Taliban? Whenever they decide to step on our foot, what happens? This happens. Bomb blast hits Taliban convoy in Bakashan and kills 3. All right? And one of these guys was a real important guy. I mean, the last time they tried to step on our nuts, we sent in ISIS and it killed one of their fucking regional governors. So this is how we keep the Afghanistans in check. All right? The Taliban, when they start doing deals with our fucking enemies, they get hit up by ISIS. And by the way, the two factions that the CIA controls, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, we control them both, but believe it or not, they hate each other. They hate each other. Exactly what we want. So that's why ISIS is hitting up the Taliban, and the Al-Qaeda is protecting them. All right? And this is going to continue to happen if the Taliban continues to do business with either China or Russia. All right? And speaking of ISIS, let's talk a little bit about ISIS. What's ISIS's stance on the Palestinian situation? All right? Take a look at this. Pro-Islamic State media group condemns Hamas, Palestinian factions for alliance with Shiite Iran and accuses Iran of using Palestinian factions for its own interest. Huh? You see, now all the CIA planning is coming into actual action. Take a look. I mean, now Iran is now being pitted as the force that is behind Hamas. And as we know, Sunnis, which are what ISIS represents, Wahhabi Sunnis, and Shiites, which is what's represented by Iran, they don't like each other. Okay? They don't like each other, and they have a different idea of what Islam is and who the prophet is and who they're supposed to worship. And you see, what have I been telling you folks? Why are we doing this? Why are the United States having ISIS and Al-Qaeda hit up all these different targets so that these fucking Muslims, remember, there's 1.5 billion or 1.3 billion Muslims in the world. If 10% of those 1.3 billion are radical Islamic terrorists that'll strap a bomb to their chest and kill themselves for jihad, well then, folks, we've got to somehow mitigate that. We've got to somehow solve that problem. And we certainly can't round them up. We certainly can't kill them all. So what we're doing is we're trying to initiate this conflict between Sunni Shiites and other factions of Islam so they can confront and kill each other. All right? And when they confront and kill each other, they're evening out the herd without us having to do any goddamn thing about it. So everything is setting up just as I suggested was the plan. And the plan is to pit the different factions of Islam against each other so they can kill one another. I mean, black operative diplomacy 101. And it's going as planned. Now, while the CIA is doing all this, the Pentagon has to come out with a spokesman and pretend that we have nothing to do with it. Take a look at this. Pentagon, U.S. is committed to continuing fight against ISIS. Of course, because we're fighting ourselves. We're not fighting anybody. If anything, we're training and arming these people. How the hell does ISIS have the same type of uniform look? How does ISIS have all these munitions? How does ISIS have all these guns? How does ISIS have all these rations in order to keep them fed? Somebody's got to give it to them, and it's us. What do you think the $7 trillion in the Middle East was spent on? Huh? What do you think the war on terror was about? All that funding for the war on terror was to construct the terrorist satellites that we have. And of course, we come out and we say, we don't know anything about it. Well, we're gonna continue to fight. We're gonna continue to fight against ISIS. I mean, you have to understand that's how this game works. Optics is everything, right? Optics is everything. And while the Pentagon is coming out and saying they're continuing their fight against ISIS, aside from making the whole area of Iran and the Middle East all fucked up, we're also trying to do it to Africa. Did y'all hear about this? Put the PC shot on. ISIS terrorists carry out a major attack and take over a whole fucking city in an African country called, what the fuck's it called? Mozambique or whatever the hell, Mozambique or whatever the fuck this is called. This fucking country right here. They've taken over a whole fucking city, and there they are putting up the fucking the ISIS flag up in this particular city. And look, where are all these fighters coming from, right? Where are all these fighters coming from, folks? They're coming from Syria and Libya and Iraq. All the arenas in which we partook in military operations, especially Libya. Libya is a goddamn jihadist gladiator school, all right, ever since we took down Gaddafi. Same with Syria. As a matter of fact, Syria, there's two factions of ISIS and Al-Qaeda over there. It depends on what side of the revolution of Syria you were on that will signify whether you're ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Whether you were Free Syrian Army, Al-Nusra, that sort of thing. But this is how serious ISIS is getting. It's not just, hitting up Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan. It's hitting up Africa. So we're going to see a lot of terrorism in Africa, and it's because now, Africa needs to be kind of the same thing I said about the Muslims. I mean, you gotta cut them down to size, because most of Africa, I mean, dare I say, has been in constant state of civil warfare. These folks have all been killing each other for a long period of time. And by the way, out there in Niger, all right, if you're all familiar with that country out there in Africa, they just got taken over by a military junta. And that junta has told the United States to exit Niger. So that's exactly what we did. We got the hell out of Niger. We're like, all right, you want us to get out of Niger? Fine, we're out of here. So what did the Niger junta do? They told the Russians to come in and occupy the air base that the United States was occupying during their time in Niger. Now, what's about to happen over here is the same thing that's happening in Pakistan and any other targeted nation that wants to, that wants to play games in this kind of capacity. Right as the Russians got sent to Niger and the Niger junta told us to get the hell out of their country, all hell is about to break loose. And it's starting right now. It's actually starting. Take a look at this. The citizenry is going nuts. Look at this. Police nabbed 5 for thuggery and robbery in Niger. Now that the junta has taken over, aside from ISIS and Al-Qaeda, I mean, the fucking people are now going ridiculously apeshit, man, over there in Niger.
I'd buy that for $1.
Anyway, thank you, C squiggly line. All right, I don't understand. I don't know why you have to print that, but thank you or say that. All right, and that's not all. I mean, it's not just thuggery and robbery over there in Niger by its citizenry, even though the junta was supposed to take over and, I don't know, remedy this to some capacity. Take a look at this. All right, take a look at this. All right, 4 arrested in Niger for raping and chopping off a 2-year-old boy's manhood. All right? And these are the fellers right here. These are the fellers. So, I'm telling you right now, this this Niger call for the United States to leave Niger, they are going to have major trouble. And it's not just Al-Qaeda or ISIS, it's their own people. These are citizens of Niger. I mean, this is what this is. I mean, this is what the state of life is going to be now that the junta has taken over. And what? The Russians are going to come in and do what? Huh? The Russians are going to come in and do what? They're not going to do anything. I mean, look at what they did to Mali, which is right next door to Niger. Remember, there is a massive presence of, well, it used to be Wagner forces, but I guess it's now Russian forces out there in Mali. And take a look at what's happening out there in Mali. It's fucking bloody hell jihadi. Take a look at this. Jihadis and ethnic militias kill 45 Mali civilians. All right? And that was yesterday. This whole area is about to break loose. All right? Exactly what we want. Because I hate to, bring up the quote by George W. Bush. I was going to say H.W., but that's his father. George W. Bush, we're fighting them over there, so we don't have to fight them over here. That's what the foreign policy of America is. That's why everybody on face value, everybody on optical value believes that we're the police of the world. We're not the police of the world. All right? We're attempting to control the world in an uncontrollable situation. And that's what I'm presenting to you. Every time I do a True Capitalist Radio, that's what I'm presenting to you. I'm presenting you the unadulterated, non-optical truth. And it's up to you how you want to interpret it. But this is real life. This is what happens. This is what every country partakes in. All right? And like I said, I mean, they're even talking about it. They're even talking about it on fucking PBS or on fucking, take a look at this. Departure of U.S. troops from Chad and Niger raises regional security concerns. Yeah, no shit. Huh? That's why, if you're a country, it behooves you to allow an American military presence in your country. Once you don't, all hell breaks loose, baby. All hell breaks loose. So it pays to be a friend of America. All right, it pays, if you want my view. Anyway, folks, let's talk a little bit about Iran here, because Iran has yet to respond to the response by Israel when they attempted to try to rocket attack Israel. Israel attacked accordingly, and Iran hasn't done anything. And maybe because Iran is having a lot of problems. I mean, right now, the hardliners in Iran are just trying to take control of the government and trying to use democratic optics to do so. Take a look at this. Iran's Ayatollah urges people to vote in parliamentary runoff amid apathy. The Iranian supreme leader, Kasballot, urges people to vote amidst declining turnout in recent elections. The reason that there's a declining turnout is because nobody believes this shit. They know that the Iranian government is going to throw in their hardliners in parliament and they're going to rule over the people with an iron fist. That's why I have said, and I predicted, that we should use Israel to confront these motherfuckers. All right? That's what I've said since the beginning. That's why I was hoping that we could, get a little bit more military initiative with these pricks. Other than just throwing bombs at each other, just throwing bottle rockets at each other. Anyway, once again, that is happening. All right, so they're having trouble in their political, local arena. And aside from that, folks, they're having problems getting basic necessities like water. Iran's water crisis, critical conditions in Tehran and 10 other provinces. And as a matter of fact, I think this is where they're going to have a confrontation with the Taliban. Because the Taliban has a body of water that's on the border of Iran and Afghanistan. And the Taliban believes it's theirs, Iran believes it's theirs, and they have been in a Mexican standoff over this body of water ever since. So Iran's not doing too well, all right? They're having a water crisis, they're having a political crisis, and of course, because of all of the United States sanctions, they're having an economic crisis as well. So how the hell Iran comes out of this, I have no idea. It certainly can't do it through warfare. I mean, Israel showed that it could just blast rockets at will and completely bypass their air defense systems. That's why Iran hasn't countered the counter by Israel. That's why they're ignoring it and pretending it's going to go away. All right, because they can't do shit. They can't do anything. So take that, Iran, you stupid piece of fucking trash. All right? Anyway, last but not least, let's talk about the Israeli situation. Since Israel did bomb Iran. Take a look at this. This happened about last week. This was during the whole negotiation process between Israel and the Palestinians and how it was going nowhere. So the CIA chief went to Qatar for an emergency meeting on the Gaza talks. But if you want my opinion, folks, I said this as well last summer when it came to the CIA head Burns going and meeting Zelensky. And I said the reason that he met Zelensky is whether or not he wanted to read for himself whether Zelensky believed his own shit. And then right after they did that, we started doing things that were not in the favor of Ukraine for a very short time. But this meeting by the CIA head, in my opinion, is to somewhat communicate with Israel and how they're going to optically show how they're going to bring Iran into this conflict with Palestine. Because that's exactly what's happening. I mean, I just showed you an article that ISIS is condemning Hamas. ISIS came out and condemned Hamas and said they are a puppet for Iran, which is what they are. So that's what CIA Burns is out there for. He's not out there for emergency meetings. He's out there to tell Bibsy and the Israelis, this is how we're going to do our thing, baby. And Biden, because of the potential invasion of Rafah over there in Palestine by the Israelis, did you hear Joe Biden is going to withhold some of the armaments that we send to Israel because of the aggressive stance by Israel in Rafah. And what did Bibsy say to potentially having the armaments that we send to them being cut off? This is what he said. Put the PC shot on. We will fight tooth and nail, even if we go at it alone. Now, you see, I know that sounds like, oh, we don't care about America. We're going to do it alone. No, what's going to happen is, folks, is we are manipulating Israel into doing our dirty work. And as you can see, all the dirty work they're doing, they're the ones taking the flack. They're the ones taking the heat. I mean, why do you think you have all these stupid dumbasses in Ivy League colleges rioting, for Christ's sake? The United States is just, once again, a party that's mitigating this situation out here. All right? It's exactly what this is what this is all about, folks. And this is why, even though I do not like Biden, I don't like his administration and what they've done to America and morally bankrupted America, but Antony fucking Blinken, who is, in my opinion, in charge of all this foreign policy, I think he has done a genius job when it comes to foreign policy. I think Henry Kissinger, Brzezinski, Albright, none of them got nothing on Blinken. Nothing on Blinken. Because this is what this is all about. We look like the good guy. Israel looks like the big bad boogeyman. They're the ones that are going to get hit up after all this aggression that they're pulling off in this region. We're not going to fucking deal with it. So this is where we're at right now in the international community, folks. All right? I mean, the world is in constant state of anarchy. And that's why every time I try to give you the assessments when it comes to international relations, that's why it's always chaotic. That's why there's always people at war, there's terrorist acts. That's the way the world operates. I've told you this time and time again. International relations, a professor told me. Yeah, because I'm educated in this crap. I don't know if you know that. A professor told me, and this is a professor that actually created policy for several different presidents. This professor told me that, look, whenever it comes to millions of people dying, you can't think about that when you're constructing any kind of foreign policy. You got to think of millions of people's lives like it's no big deal. And on top of which, he said that the world is all in a Mexican standoff. That's literally how we maintain any level of order in the international grand chessboard. Every country has a gun to each other's heads. Every one of us has got a gun to each other's heads. And you see, we're talking to each other that we're like, hey, you pull the trigger. I got this motherfucker having a gun to your head. He's going to pull the trigger on you, so let's not pull trigger, all right? Let's not pull the triggers, all right? You shoot me, they shoot you, we both die, so let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. That's literally foreign policy. That's literally foreign policy. That's why many of you that are out there on the right and the left that are out here fucking, give peace a chance, like fucking John Lennon or some shit. That's why y'all look like idiots. All right? Jesus Christ. All right, anyway, that's about it, folks, all right, for the broadcast at this point. I think it's about that time for the totally useless news section of the broadcast, all right? So let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and talk about some, totally useless news. Here's something for you. If you weren't depressed about all the shit that I just mentioned in this broadcast, take a look at this. Disturbed sister slept with brother's rotting corpse for 5 years in a home of utter filth. Huh? That's Now, this was not in Australia, or this was not in the United States. This was in Australia. And after talking to Prince, who's from Australia, I can believe this type of behavior from Aussie shit posters. Let's put it that way. This does not surprise me that this kind of shit is happening in Australia. So once again, disturbed sister sleeps with brother's rotting corpse for 5 years in a home of utter filth. And you thought your life was bad, huh? All right, one more totally useless news segment here, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. All right? And I appreciate everybody who is listening to the broadcast. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you, all right? Now take a look at this. This is why I've always said that I don't believe in women leadership. I believe that women probably shouldn't be in charge of anything. Of anything. And this study validates my point. Put the PC shot on. Study of female psychopaths are surprisingly common. Oh, what a shock! Female psychopaths are surprisingly common. All you have to do is be a man and bang a few of them to realize that this is utterly 100% true. All right? 100% true. Now, let me give you an example. The reason that I think that women aren't good leaders is because most women, whenever they obtain a leadership position when they're in charge of people, instead of thinking about their legacy as a person that's in charge of people, they use it as a power trip. They use it to force people to do shit they don't want to do and then bask and smile about it because they're forced to do so. That's how women operate when it comes to being a leader. Let me give you a good example. That stupid vice president cunt of marketing over there at Bud Light, who thought it would be a cute idea to piss off all the rednecks that drink this fucking beer and go ahead and put in some fucking disgusting cross-dresser like Dylan Mulvaney as some kind of an advertising vessel for Bud Light. All right? You want to know why she did that? She didn't do that to try to expand the market. She did that because she wanted to piss off your quintessential demographic that used to drink Bud Light before they did. And I'm telling you right now, before she got fired, before that dumb bitch got fired, she was basking in all the media attention. She was basking in all the negativity that was culminating because of her decision of going against what Bud Light used to be, you know, the demographic of a working man, you know, the workers' beer, that sort of thing, and decided to push this Dylan Mulvaney, this disgusting, looks like an AIDS-infected crossdresser, as a marketing vehicle. She was basking in it. She enjoyed it. That's how women are. When it comes to men, when they are bosses, they think about legacy. They think about, look, I got to do the best job possible. I got to motivate the team to do the best job possible because I don't want to look like a fucking schmuck, all right? And I want the money, all right? I want a badass car. I want a badass house. That's how men think. Women don't think that way. Women, they're not always motivated by money, folks. Women have weird motivations sometimes. That's why this study, female psychopaths are surprisingly common. I mean, women do things like kill their children. All right? Women do things like Munchausen by proxy. I mean, let me give you a good example. There was a case out here in San Antonio that happened last month in which a mother took her child, all right, shot her child in the head, and then killed herself because of a domestic situation with her husband. And I think the last thing she texted her husband was that you're never going to see your son again, and then kills the kid. I think he was 3 years old, and then kills herself. And that was a local story here in in San Antonio. It actually made headline news in the international news because it was so fucking psychotic and ridiculous. So anyway, a study validating that most females are psychopaths. So be careful out there, gentlemen. All right? FYI. Anyway, folks, that concludes the True Capitalist Radio Show for Baller Friday. All right? I appreciate everybody for listening, and I appreciate everybody that's doing a little bit of, of donating to the show. I appreciate it. If you wanted to keep this text-to-speech free, all right, consider becoming a member, all right, of the True Capitalist Radio Show. You'll be instantly invited to the chat room. I'm actually going to probably be in the chat room on Saturday, and we'll probably watch some sports or some shit on Saturday night, something like that. We're just going to try to get as many members as we possibly can. And look, the membership is the equivalent of what people pay for on the Ghost Show for a damn video. So the trolls out there on the Ghost Show say that I have no legitimate listeners and that nobody cares and that I'm just, whatever. I'm supported by the trolls or some shit. I wish that you could fucking prove them otherwise. I wish that you could prove them otherwise, man. Anyway, I hope to see some of you people become a member, and I hope to see you guys in the chat room. We're going to do a lot of things. Political discussions during debates, business talk during market hours, movie nights, things of that nature, man. So if you, want some things to do when it comes to not just listening to the broadcast, but having some decent conversations. And let me tell you, this chat room is going to be serious. All right? There's not going to be any fucking trolls, any fucking drama, none of that shit. If there's any trolls or any drama, you're kicked the fuck out. All right? It's as simple as that. All right? This is a no troll show. All right? That's why I have the Ghost Show. The Ghost Show, you trolls can go fucking nuts all you want to. And I don't know if y'all saw the last Ghost Show, but these fucking idiots had me raid a stream of deaf people, which I thought was horrible. All right? Which I thought was horrible. Anyway, folks, thank you all very much for tuning in with me. I had a great show. I appreciate you guys for listening in. And I want to say cheers to everybody listening. We've got hundreds of listeners on every platform. We've got people in YouTube. Cheers to the people in YouTube. Cheers to the folks that are in Rumble and all the Rumble rants that go on in there. And cheers to the folks on Kick. Cheers to the D-Live folks with all the ninja-guineas and all the diamonds. And, of course, cheers to Kick, the folks that are out there in Kick, for Christ's sake, all right? So, anyway, cheers to you all. I think I'm going to be doing a ghost show this Sunday, all right? So, if you're anticipating some internet tomfoolery, you're going to have to wait till Sunday, all right? So, follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so, The Ghost Report on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And also, folks, I've got some merch going on because people have been asking, hey, Ghost, can I have some merch? Can we do some? I've got merch up at the True Capitalist or the Ghost Market, Ghost.market store. Here, let me put the link into everybody right there. Ghost.market. All right. Take a look, represent, and this is just for people to represent whenever they're at these fucking cons or, wherever the hell they are, all right? So cheers to everybody out there, man. I appreciate you listening either way, all right? Please spread the show around like wildfire, and until next time, I hope to see you all soon, all right? All right, I am the man that gives CIA levels of assessment. I hope you all have a great Baller Friday, and I'm out of here.